by any chance?
No, sir.
No? Okay, I'm just trying to use two devices so that I can share the screen as well as see all your smiling faces, not tensed faces. 1 second now. Yes. Okay. Great. So my video will keep shifting between two angles, right? All right. Can we start?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So first thing we should know is what we should not read. Correct? No. We keep reading the number of pages which we have to read in next 1 hour, how many pages we can finish, all that we keep doing. But the first thing is we should know that what is the topic, even if it is there in the textbook, we should not touch that topic. The best thing, no, that many number of pages gets avoided, right? So what are those topics which we should not read? Okay, now you can see that on your screen. Rate of taxes for goods and services both have been excluded for you, so you don't have to remember the rate of taxes. What you have to remember is exemptions. Okay, rate of taxes, whether it is 18%, 12%, 5%, all that will be given in the question. So whatever questions I have gone through also as of now, the rates are given there. Okay, RCM on goods is there. Some animal like RCM on goods is there. That is not there for our syllabus. We have a monster which is RCM on services. Okay, that is there in our syllabus, right? And if you see revision test papers, a lot of questions are being asked on RCM on services. So my request would be that even in our class today, you'll be spending a lot of time on RCM on services. But when you're reading also, Mehak, please focus a lot on RCM on services, right? Okay. Exemptions, you will not believe the number of questions which are being asked. Every RTP you take, every question which is for 8 marks or 10 or 12 marks question, okay, at least 2 or 3 points will be from exemption. And those exemptions are so tricky. I will take you through the RTP, okay, which Chinmay had shared with me. The question is so tricky that you actually have to go back to the entry, read it properly, only then you will get the answer. Okay, so very tricky questions are being asked on exemptions. So we will have to go through that also very, very closely, okay, as far as services are concerned, because goods exemption is not applicable. Okay, now what do you mean by intrastate supply? What do you mean by interstate supply? You don't have to bother. The question itself will give you whether that supply is an intrastate or the supply is interstate. Based on that, you have to calculate, but you have to be careful to check whether it is intrastate or interstate, and based on that, calculate the IGST liability or CGST, SGST liability, right? Okay. Valuation under section 15 is very much there as part of your syllabus, but valuation rules are not there. So if valuation section fails, I am transacting with a related party. Okay, if you recall our discussion some ages back we had done, right? So there, when India's first entry to Oscars wins Lagan, that time we had discussed. Now the entry we have won also. Okay, but that time we had discussed about valuation section 15. There it says the transaction value between two parties will be accepted only when the price is the sole consideration and the transaction is between other than related parties. Okay, so if the transaction is with related parties, the transaction value will not be accepted. Okay, not accepted. Now what is the value on which I'm required to pay tax? Because I have to pay tax now. Don't bother. If you bother now in CA final, what will you do? Correct. So valuation rules are there in CA final. Don't worry about that. Right? Okay. Next, ITC related to real estate projects. Even chartered accountants don't know how to compute input tax credit as far as real estate projects is concerned. You are work in progress. So they said, let's not bother work in progress about this provisions. Right? Okay. OIDAR, not applicable. Online information database access retrieval services. To remember the full form itself is so difficult. They said, forget it. We'll not ask any questions on that. Okay. Input service distributor. We had covered it. We had solved a problem also. I remember. But that is not part of your syllabus from an examination perspective. TCS, I am not talking about the company. It is tax collection at source, and TDS is not applicable for you, right? So TCS and TDS is also not applicable. That was section 51 and section 52. Okay, but what will you do with remembering the section? Not applicable, right? Okay. Then job work. I send the goods to somebody. and he does something. What something? Not relevant, because what he is doing is not relevant for our examination. Correct, no, Pradyumna? Why bother about it? We are not bothered about what is there. Why will we bother about what is not there? Correct, right? Okay. Now let's look at the question paper pattern. Okay, you will have a sandwich of income tax and GST. Correct, no? Right? In that you will have compulsory question number 5, right? Where all the questions which we don't know the answer of will be accumulated there. All those questions will be in compulsory question 5. Okay. Then you will have 3 more questions. Question 6, question 7, question 8. Okay. There in question 6 you will know answer to question number 1. In question 7 you will know answer to question number 2. In question 8 you will know question to answer to question number 3. In that 2 questions you will have to choose. So basically you will not be able to answer one question. Correct, no? Hey, what you're agreeing, Bhumika? You should know all the questions, yeah? You should say, I will answer even optional questions. And then tell them you choose what you want to value. What choice you are giving to me. That much overconfidence let's not have. After become member, let us have that much confidence, right? Okay. So that will be for 20 marks. So 2 questions of 10 marks each. And then you will have MCQs, hit out or get out, for 12 marks. Okay. So totally you will have have GST paper for 40 marks. Okay. Now I'm sure people who have come from CPT background will know how to handle MCQs. Okay. One simple strategy is you don't have to know the correct answer in MCQs, but you have to be smart. What you have to do is you have to only identify which cannot be the answer. If the question is based on all this, compute the tax liability, and even if one transaction is taxable, that means answer cannot be tax liability 0. That means that answer is eliminated. So earlier your probability of getting the correct answer was 25%. Now it is 33.33%. Correct, no? Right? Then if the tax amount itself is more than all the amount what you have added as value of supply, that answer also cannot be the answer. Eliminate that also. So now your probability has upgraded from 33.33% to 50%. Correct? So likewise, please identify answers which can never be correct and then target the balance answers. There, most probably what is your answer will be the correct answer. Correct? Or should be the correct answer. Second, okay, very, very important. Now what happened? We have leisure of time, so I will go very slow. We have 7 to 9:40 today, and tomorrow also 7 to 9:40. Okay, so we will go a little slow. We will absorb everything, whatever we are doing. So whatever we'll do 100%. Okay. So now, you know what happened? I was reading consolidation question. Okay, accounts was a little difficult for me. Okay, so I was reading a problem on consolidation when I was writing my CA final exam. Okay, now sir had given and said, sure shot, this is the kind of problem which will be asked. He had solved that in the class. Okay, in my entire history of class, my balance sheet has never tallied in the first attempt. Okay, so exam is at 9 o'clock. At 8:30 I open the book. Okay, I read this consolidation problem. Okay, and I'm just trying to read. 8:59 I am reading. Close the book, enter, they give me question paper. The first question is the same question. Okay, in 15 minutes I finished the consolidation problem and I am very happy. Balance sheet also tallied for the first time. Okay, then after that I finished, and now sir had told don't discuss the question paper. Okay, but this time I was very confident that I have done everything correct, right? So I wanted to show off to my friends and said, look, we have done really well. So everybody was like, no, very difficult paper, consolidation problem was so lengthy, this, that. I said, did your balance sheet tally? They said, why did you prepare balance sheet? He said, no, that was the problem, no? They said, please read. They had asked only for journal entries. Right. So the question could be the same, what you have read, but the expectation from the answer could be completely different. So please read what they're asking you to do. Are they asking you to find out what is the tax to be paid? Or are they asking you what is the output tax liability? Both are different. See, output tax liability means taxable supplies multiplied by 18%. Tax to be discharged is equal to output tax minus input. That is the amount you will discharge by cash. Correct? Correct, no, Sagar? Full tension, no? Oh, Sagar is sitting next to Sagar. Huh? Very nice. Right? Okay. So now you have to read the question till the question mark. Otherwise, we'll run into problems. Right? Third, there could be cases where you don't know whether it is an intrastate supply, whether it is an interstate supply. They forgot to tell you that the rate of tax is 18%. Okay. If it is capital goods which they are selling, you have to find out from what date they had purchased so that you can calculate the depreciation. They have not given that date. How will you write all those? So you will have to make some assumptions. Okay. Assumptions are required to be made where the questions are incomplete. Assumptions should not be made where I have a question mark in my mind. Otherwise, best no, in consolidation problem, it is assumed that there are no adjustments. Same balance sheet, what they've done, same thing, you only copy of that and say, everything correct. Correct, no. Assumptions are required where the question paper is incomplete and you're not able to go beyond that. Right? Assumptions are not required where I have a question in my mind that I should have cleared it when I was attending revision classes, I was attending regular classes, I was reading for my examination. Correct, no? Right. Okay. One very important adjustment I saw 2 years back. Okay, all the questions they have not said whether the value is inclusive of tax or exclusive of tax. Only that one examination. After that, all the examinations they have been very clearly giving. Okay, so in your examination also, if there is any question where they do not specifically say whether the transactions are inclusive of tax or exclusive of tax, please make an appropriate mention of that. And I would believe everywhere, please say, in the absence of information, it is assumed that all these transactions are exclusive of tax. Well, the inclusive of tax, again, will be a big headache for us to calculate. Correct? Now, of all the tensions, this one more tension will get added. Okay. Wherever you can remember the section, please give the section number. Wherever. And we have had enough number of discussions on how to remember the section. Today also just 5-10 minutes we'll discuss on that. Okay, but wherever you can remember the section, please remember the section and please quote that section. Okay, but whenever you are facing any problem, okay, where they ask you whether this is liable to output tax, not liable to output tax, the basic expectation is you have to prepare a table and say adjustment number 1, security services. Okay, is it taxable, not taxable? You give the value, you will say tax, nil, because it is exempt, because it is rendered to an educational institution. What you are expected to do is have 5 columns. What are those 5 columns? The transaction, the value, okay, sorry, 6 columns. Transaction, value, whether it's CGST, SGST, IGST, and last write note, and there you write note 1. And below the table write note 1. This service, because it is rendered to an educational institution up to 12th standard, it is exempt from tax. Okay, or if it is taxable, because the security services are given to a person not being an educational institution, exemption is not available. Okay, performing artist, exemption is applicable only till 1,50,000, but that guy has collected 2 lakh rupees. Right now, what will you do? Because the amount collected is more like 1,50,000, exemption not available. Because the residential property has been used for commercial purposes, exemption not available. Deepa is thinking all this I'm listening for the first time. How is it a revision class? It is a vision class. Correct, no? Deepa?
They're trying to recall.
Very good. Try. Right? Okay. So the expectation is that you have to give reason. If the question is how much is the ITC available, so they've given 10 transactions, all the 10 transactions relating to input tax credit, okay, and they've given first transaction, purchase of 14-seater car. In the table, beautifully you write purchase of car, input tax credit 1 lakh rupees. Next to that write note 1, and below the table write note 1. The credit on car is restricted up to 13-seater capacity. In the present case, the car purchases 14-seater capacity, and hence restriction not applicable, and hence credit is available. Correct? Insurance on car or food and beverages, you will write ineligible, or you will write 0. CGST, SGST, IGST 0. Note 2. food and beverages credit is not available unless the input is equal to output. Correct? No? Right? Spurti is like, oh, yellow keltangide sir idu. Right? So you have to write the reasoning. Only when you write the reasoning, you are giving a complete answer. Otherwise, the answer which you are providing is incomplete. Okay? Then remember how to set off the input tax credit between C, S and I with the output of C, S and I. How do we set it off? Very simple. First take IGST output, okay, and take the IGST input. The IGST input has to be first set off against IGST output. Any balance in IGST input is left will have to be given to CGST and SGST, whichever way. There is no law. But what will we do? 50% CGST, 50% SGST. Correct? Agreed, everyone? Okay. Then after that, we move to CGST. Only after the IGST credit has become zero, we can touch CGST. CGST credit first has to go to CGST. If any balance is left, will go to IGST. After we have used whatever permutation combination are available for CGST, we can move to SGST. SGST first against SGST, balance if any will go to IGST. Okay? CGST cannot get set off against SGST, SGST cannot get set off against CGST because Amazon and Flipkart, Amazon money cannot be used on Flipkart, Flipkart money cannot be used on Amazon. But Paytm money can be used here and there, IGST. Correct? No? Right? Okay.
Yes.
Same example, bad example, but what can we do? That's all I know. Right? Okay. Then earlier, okay, in RTPs, they used to give circulars. Unfortunately, now they are not giving circulars. They're straight away giving questions. So I saw the RTP, straight questions only they are given on circular. Both those circulars we will discuss. Okay, but there are few more circulars. Those also, whenever, wherever, not Shakira, okay, whenever, wherever time permits, I will discuss that. Is this clear? Okay. Can we move ahead?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Don't be tensed. Revision class. We are in March. Exams are in May. You have good amount of time. If you have tension, you will not be able to read anything. If you don't have tension, you will be able to read something. Correct? No?
Yes.
Definitely, we cannot say that a sufficient amount of time is there. But time is there. Right? Okay. So don't get tense. Ram said 2 hours. I only have to do all the hard work. You sit and relax. Don't do anything. Right? Okay. Now let's look at some introduction about GST. What I have done is every chapter, one page, I have created one note. Okay. So that it becomes easy for me to tell you what I want to tell you. Not for you to read, but for me to tell you what is important to be told. Okay. First, when was GST introduced? 1st July 2017. You can take it in writing from me. This question will not be asked in the examination. Okay? So please don't buy heart. Only thing is you should be aware of it. That's all. Nothing else. Clear? Right. Very good. Next. It was extended to Jammu and Kashmir only from 8 July 2017. Let's not get into constitutional debate. This one you remember. Full detailed explanation we would have given regular class. Now not required. Why Jammu and Kashmir? Is it not part of our India? Very good, very good, very nice. It is part of India only. But whole of India, 1st July. GST in Jammu and Kashmir, 8th of July. Correct? Okay. Next. What is GST? It is a value added tax. For every value added at every step, tax is required to be paid. Example. Okay. Just now somebody sent a message. RCB versus Mumbai Indians match is happening in Bangalore on 17th of April. Pradyumna, don't even think about it. Okay. On 17th of April, that match is happening at 7:30 p.m. Do you want tickets? He messaged. I said, yes, I want the tickets. What is the price? He said, MRP is 3,500. I am selling it 4,500 rupees. Okay. Now, see, we should be interested in what? GST. Not in the cricket match. Correct. So now that means Chinnaswamy Stadium has sold to Mr. Sagar these tickets at 3,500 rupees. So Chinnaswamy Stadium is going to pay GST on what value? 3,500 rupees. Okay. Now Mr. Sagar is selling to Mr. Hanish at what price? 4,500 rupees. Correct. So now Sagar has to pay tax on how much value? 4,500 rupees he has to pay tax. Correct. But he will tell government, when he is collecting money from me, he will say 4,500 plus GST. But when he is paying the tax to the government, he will say, sir, 4,500 multiplied by 18% I am required to pay. But already when I purchased from Chinnaswamy Stadium, 3,500 on that I have already paid the tax. So give me that deduction. That is called input tax credit. That means effectively Mr. Sagar will pay tax on how much value? 1,000. What is that 1,000? Value added by him. Assuming that 3,500, though it is MRP, is excluding GST. Assumption. Note, it is assumed that in the absence of information, all the amounts were excluding GST. Correct? No? Right. So now Sagar effectively pays tax only on 1,000 rupees. Now, assuming I see my friends who are drinking coffee continuously, okay, are not able to write the exam, not able to, participate in the match. So I will also sacrifice myself and say, even I will not watch the match. Actually, the price of the tickets have now become 10,000. It is better to sit at home and order food. Still, it will be cheaper. Correct? No, because my Hotstar also is borrowed only. I don't pay money for that. Right? So now somebody says I'll pay 10,000 rupees. What I will do? I will sell that at 10,000 rupees. Note, in the absence of information, it is assumed that is excluding GST. Right? So now I am selling that ticket at 10,000 rupees. But I have purchased at 4,500 rupees. What is the value I have added? 5,500. Effectively, I am paying tax only on 5,500 rupees. That means on every value added, tax is being paid. That is why GST is also referred to as a value added tax. Correct? No, because whatever I have paid in the earlier purchase, okay, I am getting input tax credit of the same. Correct? Continuous chain of tax credit. That means whatever you buy, as long as you can prove it is in relation to your business, you will get input tax credit. You have to prove that it is in relation to your business. Then you will be able to claim the input tax credit. Correct? Okay. Third, burden of the tax is on the final customer. So now Mr. Hanish sold the ticket to Mr. Shetty. Okay. Some other Shetty. Okay. Right. So to Shetty, I cannot say sir, then you will get to another person. Uday Shetty, you have seen Welcome movie. So you send it to Mr. Uday Shetty. At what price he sold? 10,000 plus 1,800 rupees. Correct? No. So 11,800 rupees has been collected from Mr. Uday Shetty. He went and watched the match with Malika Sherawat. Right? Now, can he claim input credit? Can he claim input credit?
No.
He cannot claim because he is a
Final
Customer.
So the entire tax burden of that entire supply chain will be borne by the customer. Government has got tax at 3,500. They got tax at 4,500. They got tax at 10,000. But all these taxes at different stages has been borne by Mr. Uday Shetty. And government gets taxes only when the final consumer consumes something. Whatever is paid in between is like advance tax for them. End of it, when somebody consumes, only then they've got the final tax. Clear? Next, for a business owner, there is no cascading effect of taxes. Now, what do you mean by cascading effect of taxes?
tax on
Tax on tax means earlier there was excise duty on manufacture of goods. After I manufacture the goods, if I sell the goods, then I have to pay VAT. Okay, so on the same commodity, when I'm manufacturing, I'm paying one tax, and I'm selling, I'm paying another tax, including the value of excise duty. Government says this tax on tax leads to increase in prices, which makes our exports very, very uneconomical. So let's do one thing. We will remove the cascading effect of tax. So there is only one tax now, which is GST. There is no excise duty. There is no VAT. There is no service tax. There is no entry tax. Clear, everyone?
Yes.
Then it is a destination-based consumption tax. What do you mean by destination-based consumption tax? That means the state where the consumer of that goods or service is located, that state will get the revenue. Earlier, the state which manufactured the goods got the revenue. Now who will get the revenue?
The state that is
The state
consuming
where
the
the
product.
goods are consumed will get the revenue. So example, if Karnataka manufactures a car in Biddi, okay, and sells it to a customer who is in Chennai, Toyota, okay, Innova is manufactured in Biddi and sold to a customer, say in Chennai, Tamil Nadu, okay. Earlier, CST on that car would go to Karnataka government. In GST, the car as well as the tax will go to Chennai through that highway, which we can reach in 4.5, through which we can reach Chennai in 4.5 hours. Correct, no? Right? But they'll put a speed board. They'll say you cannot exceed 80 kilometers per hour. So again, we'll go at 8 hours only. Right? Okay. So now that car also and the tax also goes to the state where the consumer is located. Clear? Okay. Only one exception, where the tax will not go to the state where the consumer is located. But there also there is another theory available. Assuming, okay, Pradyumna has a girlfriend. Assumption, no. Right? And assume that Pradyumna's girlfriend is in Chennai. Two assumptions we are making, or two impossible things we are talking about. Okay. So now, on the recently concluded Valentine's Day, he wanted to send a gift to his girlfriend. So he sent a gift, a teddy bear, okay, to his girlfriend. Now, where is the teddy bear going? Chennai. Where should the tax go? Chennai or Bangalore?
Chennai.
Chennai, yeah? Why? The consumer is Pradyumna.
It's being delivered to Chennai, right? So
Delivery is in Cloud9.
Sir, it should be in Karnataka.
The consumer is in Karnataka. The person who has paid it is in Karnataka. Correct? No. Delivery is not relevant. Of course, relevant in few cases. Okay, but in this case, delivery is not important. Here, the person who pays is the consumer. Right? So the revenue will go to the state where the person who is paying is located. Right? Billed to her, shipped to him. Sorry, billed to him, shipped to her. Pradyumna was so happy. Oh, sir, amazing combination this is. No. Billed to him, shipped to her. The place where billed to is located, tax will go to that state. All right? Okay. Then everything is digital. Now you don't have to go to the department and file the returns, file the refund application, file the registration application, file the appeal documents, nothing. Everything is online. Right? That is on the GST portal. Across India, it is common. See, earlier, excise, one website. State Department, one website. Service tax, one website. Now, if I'm IBM having 28 locations, for every registration in every state, different website, different Java utility, different DSC requirement. This DSC will work here, will not work there. Okay, this system will work for Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Andhra, but will not work for Kerala. All the issues were there. Now I said everything on common portal, which is the common portal, www.gst.gov.in. Earlier, you could complain that 10 websites are not working. Now you will complain only one website is not working. That's all. Right? Next, we have ASP and GSP concept. Now, what is the ASP? Sorry, it's not GST, it is GSP. Now, everywhere GST, so GSP has also become GST. Okay. Application service provider, GST service provider. Okay. What is this? These are guys who facilitate the transactions. Okay. Say, assuming you have 10 invoices, you can go to GST portal, you can log in, you can upload all the 10 invoices. Very simple. If you have 10 lakh invoices per day, what will you do? The system will crash. It will not be able to take that much of load. So then what GST did is, they said, like Bangalore has a ring road, right? We will also have a ring road where you can have direct access to GST portal. So the ASP and GSPs are like the ring roads. Directly it will connect to the GST portal. instead of you going to GST portal and logging in, there will be a channel between you. It is a bridge between you and the GST portal, which will allow you to push the data quickly. Clear? Then there is something called as, sorry, somebody was asking something.
Nothing, sir.
Nothing. Okay. Right. Next, there is something called as compensation cess. Now, what do you mean by compensation cess? All the states who are earning a lot of money pre-GST were all states where manufacturing used to take place. Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, all these are manufacturing states. So all the taxes on manufacture were being given to these states because it was an origin-based tax. Now, suddenly from 1st July 17, what happens? It becomes a destination-based consumption tax. The taxes go to where? UP, Jharkhand, Bihar, where consumption is high. Correct? So now these states who were manufacturing states said, no, we will have a loss. Imagine Punjab and Haryana. They are manufacturers, they only grow wheat, rice and consume alcohol. Correct? So nothing of wheat and rice will come to them. Everything will get consumed in all the other states. Correct? So they will not be able to get anything at all for the production of wheat, rice, etc. Right? So then they said, no, this GST model is not okay with us. Government of India, that is the finance minister, said, I will promise you that you will get more revenue than what you are getting now. The promise, okay, you promised so many things to the voter. Have you given anything to them? So promise we don't want. You tell me concretely what you will do. They said, okay, let's do one thing. GST will come in 17-18. We'll take 1 year before. That is 16-17. Okay. Whatever is your revenue, okay, I will ensure that year on year, you will get 14% growth over that revenue. So if your revenue is 100, I will promise that next year it will be 114. The next year it will be, I don't have the calculator, 114 multiplied 114%. Okay, whatever that number is, right? So I will promise that you will keep getting those numbers, right? So now finance minister has told to all the states, I will give you. But how will finance minister get the money? Correct, because all the states, if they're losing money, finance minister will also lose money because they are getting divided by 2 only, no? 9% here, 9% there. So if states are also losing, central will also lose. So then finance minister, oh, I have promised them, but how will I fulfill that promise? Correct. So then the idea. Let's do one thing. We will collect it from customer. Right. So what we will do is we will add another tax called compensation cess. This will not be distributed between anybody. It will lie with me. If any state comes crying to me, you have not given me my money, then from this compensation fund or compensation cess, I will release the money to that state. So now if the state says, you had promised 114, now I have got only 14. What to do? Then from the compensation cess, 100 crores will be given to the state after verification whether the data what they've given is correct or not. Right? So that is why compensation cess was introduced, which was introduced only for 5 years. 5 years over. But once the lion has tasted blood, now he cannot do anything other than eating that only, right? So now after 5 years, technically, compensation cess should have been removed from the syllabus now. It is still there. Now center will enjoy. For the first 5 years, states were compensated. Now center is going to take it. The states come crying saying, I have lost the revenue. I promised you for 5 years. No, 5 years over. Now I cannot do anything. That's all. No, but you're collecting compensations. Yeah, I'm collecting. What is your problem? That's all. Right? Okay. Next. There are few products which are special products. Okay. Petrol is outside GST. Alcohol is outside GST. Tobacco is inside GST also and inside other taxes also. Tobacco is the only product which is liable to excise duty and it is liable to GST. They don't want to lose the revenue on both the sides. Okay. Alcohol completely outside GST. If you look at the charging section itself says GST will be applicable on all goods or services other than alcoholic liquor for human consumption. So on alcohol, there is no GST at all. Okay. But if you look at the next section, 9.2, 9.1 is the charging section, 9.2 says on petrol and petroleum products, GST will be made applicable on a date which will be decided by the GST Council. So on petrol, anytime GST can be levied, provided GST Council decides on the same. So as of now, petrol is outside GST, but whenever they want to bring into GST, they can bring into GST. Clear, everyone? Right?
Yes.
So petrol outside GST, alcohol outside GST, tobacco in both the GSTs and excise duties. Okay, petrol anytime can be bought into GST. Right? It's like Anjana. Anytime she can come in and go out of the class. Correct? No. I will say I have come on time today. Correct? Yeah. Right. Now, see, we have a mother act called Constitution of India. Okay, and whether we can sit or we can stand, whether we can talk or we should shut up, everything is guided by Constitution of India, directly or indirectly. Right? Today I'm able to talk to you freely is not because of Zoom. It is because of Constitution of India allows Zoom to operate in India. Correct? If like Jammu and Kashmir, where Article 370 was introduced, they discontinued the internet services, how will I communicate with you? Right? So Constitution of India allows us to do everything. Right? So even the taxes are governed by Constitution of India. They have the central list, the state list, and the concurrent list. Okay. Anything in the central list, only center can levy tax. Anything in the state list, only state can levy tax. Anything in the concurrent list, both of them can enact. Okay. So we had excise duty in the central list. We had VAT in the state list. Okay. So till manufacture, center was asking the taxes. After manufacture and up to sale, state was asking the taxes. When GST came in, center is giving up its power of levying excise duty on manufacture, and state is giving its own power of levying tax on sale of goods. But how can they do that? Because Constitution says you have to levy. So then the point was we had to amend the Constitution of India. Right? When the amendment took place, Article 246, very easy to remember. And what is Article 246? It is for amendment. So it is 246A. Correct? No. Don't write all this logic in the exam. This is for only us to remember. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, double is 246. 246. And this amendment. So A. Article 246A was introduced. Don't write section. In Constitution, there is no section. There is article. Alright. Okay. So Article 246A gives the power to both the center and the state to make powers or to enact laws which can lead to levy of GST on goods and services. All right. Okay. Can they ask questions on this? Sometimes they can ask. Have they asked? No, they have not asked. Means either it will be compulsory asked in your exam or it will never be asked in your exam. Correct? No. Right. Okay. Then Article 269A. I cannot give any reasoning on this. So it allows the government to levy IGST. See, 246A was what? C and S. 269A is IGST. So IGST power comes from 269A. And here, very important thing, 269A is for only central government. 269A is only for central government because central government has enacted IGST law. But 246A is for both center and the state because CGST will be with the center, SGST will be with the state. Clear? Okay. Next. What are the taxes which were being levied earlier, which will now not be levied? Okay. That we call it as subsumed. It's gone into. Okay. So there are central taxes and there are state taxes. So I've just made a list of that. And sometimes they ask questions on this. So that's why I've made this list. Okay. So if you look at the central laws, we had excise duty, we had service tax. Okay. I'm sorry, there is a repetition there. Then there is a countervailing duty that is called CVD when I import the goods. Okay. Central sales tax and central surcharges and cess. We had Krishi Kalyan cess, social welfare surcharge. Okay. Sabka Vishwa, no, what is that? Secondary higher education cess. Okay. And what was it? SBC was also there. Some cess was there. Point is now we don't have to remember all this. Okay. So even I don't remember. All these cesses were removed. Okay. When GST was introduced. Okay. Likewise in the state, we had entertainment tax. If you go to a movie, we had to pay entertainment tax. Tax on betting, gambling and lottery. Okay. So that was there. Ratan, you will know, no, all this. There was a tax on betting, gambling, and lottery. You know, no?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, correct. So that was there, right? Entry tax was there. So from Karnataka, if you go to Tamil Nadu, okay, and you're entering Tamil Nadu, you have to pay entry tax. Okay, then there was luxury tax. If you go to a hotel, okay, which is a 5-star hotel, you are enjoying the luxuries of that hotel, so you have to pay luxury tax. Okay, then there was VAT on sale of goods. Then if you advertise something, you have to pay advertisement tax. And there was state surcharge, like in entry tax, there was special entry tax, okay, which was a surcharge. So all these were the taxes which a taxpayer had to pay pre-GST. Imagine if you were writing the exam before 2017. Now your syllabus is only GST. That also you're crying. Imagine if it was before 2017. All these acts you have to read. Correct? No? Life has become so simple now. So if you write, what are the advantages of GST? Our syllabus has reduced. Correct? No? What are the features of GST? So many portions I don't have to read. It reduces printing of paper. Because now one act only, which I have to read. Right?
Eco-friendly.
Eco-friendly also. Correct. Okay. Because not many people pass inter. So very few go to final. So that many paper consumption is less. Very bad joke. Very bad joke. Deepa, don't worry. It was joke only. It was not a fact. At least for this class. Huh? Okay. Right. Now, let's solve a problem. Okay. You will have to give me answers for this. Okay. On setting off of input tax limit. So the first situation, output tax. IGST is 50,000. CGST is 1 lakh. SGST is 1 lakh. And input tax, IGST is 1 lakh, CGST is 25,000, SGST is 25,000. Now you tell me, how will you utilize the credit and what is the final tax which is required to be paid in cash by the taxpayer? Quickly. Very easy question to start off with, okay? Deepa is like, my hands are really not moving.
Total it's 1 lakh.
Sorry?
Total it's 1 lakh.
Workout, yeah, workout. It is not 2,50,000 minus 1,50,000. It is not consolidation problem. I is separate, C is separate, S separate. In the exam, don't make output total is 2.5, input total is 1.5. So total tax liability to be paid is 1 lakh. No. In C, how much? S, how much? I, how much?
CGST 50,000 and
You
SGST
worked out or you're only calculating mental maths?
worked out, sir. It roughly.
No, perfectly have to work out. No, note this.
Total liability is 1 lakh rupees, and for CGST it is 50,000 and SGST it is 50,000.
Sure? Everybody okay?
Yes.
I think.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Apurva, same answer you got?
Yes, sir.
Why you copied, yeah?
Sir?
Oh, that is the correct answer. Okay, then no problem. So here, please remember, see, I have made some notes there. First set off will be IGST, correct? Second set off will be CGST and SGST. Third set off will be CGST. Fourth set off will be SGST. You don't have to write that in the examination, but for us to understand in this class, this has been mentioned. Clear? Is my answer correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Let's go to the next question.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Sagar, if you go out of the screen, we feel that you have drowned. So be careful how you are sitting. Oh, I can see Harshita madam now only. I mean, the first screen, Harshita madam was not there. Second screen, I can see Prithvi is there. Sai Rishika madam is there. Nice. Rihan, why have you not switched on your video? Others also switch on, no? Studying for so many days, so beard is there, unshaved hair is there, put on weight. All right. What is the answer?
1,90,000 in IGST.
90,000.
How in IGST? How much?
1,90,000.
1,90,000.
Okay. Just let me know if the answer is correct. So here I have only 10,000 to spare against my 5 lakh liability of IGST. Correct? Then I have 2.5 lakh input credit. I cannot set it off directly against IGST. First, set off in the own house. Right? Then go to the neighbor. So 1 lakh I set it off against my own house. I am left with 1,50,000. I move that to IGST. Similarly, first 1 lakh of SGST I will set off against SGST. Surplus I will move to IGST. And then after that I have CGST, SGST nil and IGST 1,90,000. Is my answer correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now work out this question.
IGST 38,000.
IGST 38,000 is the answer, is it?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. So output is 50, 75, 75. First I adjust 10,000. Then I have 75,000, which I adjust against CGST. Then I have extra 1,000. Similar cases with SGST. So balance liability in cash for IGST will be 38,000. Clear? Okay.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Can I move ahead?
Yes.
Sorry, somebody had a question. No? Okay. Right. Very important. Okay. How to remember the sections? Very, very important. Okay. First is section 7. What is section 7? Definition or meaning and scope of supply. Okay. 7.1a. All three conditions are required to be satisfied. Supply for consideration in the course of business. So 7.1a tells us that any form of supply for consideration in the course of business constitutes a supply. Okay. Then 7.1aa they have added amendment. A, B, C in between they have to add means A only. So that our entire SC, B, SC, S that flow they spoiled it off, right, by adding this A. But we will learn the way we want to learn. Okay, so we will ignore A for a minute, not for our exam, for a minute. Okay, 7.1b. B is there, B only is not there. S and C. First one was all supply for consideration in the course of business. All are required. 7.1b, B is not required. That is supply for consideration. Import of services for consideration is a supply. That's all. 7.1c, C is not there. So what is left? Supply. Supply referred under schedule 1 irrespective whether consideration is paid or not. Correct? There are three kinds of supply. Correct? Okay, let's take few examples to understand this. We will remember the provisions, that is one thing, but let's remember the sections also. In those provisions, what is there? What if question is there? You say as per section 7. What as per section 7? That also you have to answer. Correct? So 7.1a says for a transaction to be a supply, the transaction should be a supply. I know it sounds very weird, but it says supply includes all forms of supply. Okay, for a transaction to be a supply, it should be a supply for consideration in the course of business. Let's take an example. Okay, right? You are writing CA exams. Okay. For your hall ticket, fees has been collected from you,
Yes, sir.
right?
Yes, sir.
5,000, 10,000, 20,000. What is the range?
2,700.
3,000 rupees. Okay, I heard 2,700. So it'll take 3,000 rupees. So 3,000 has been collected from you. Okay. Now CA Institute is in the business of conducting examination. Correct or not? So one is business criteria. Satisfied or not? They have collected money from you. Is there a consideration?
Yes.
They are going to allow you to write exam. Is there a supply?
Yes, sir.
So there is a supply for consideration in the course of business. All the elements of 7.1 is satisfied. After you finish your exam, you want to go on a holiday. You book a accommodation. Okay. So the hotel is going to charge you money, 10,000 rupees. What is the business of hotel? To give rooms on accommodation, on rental basis. Business.
Yes.
Have they collected money from you?
Yes.
Consideration is, what is the supply they're giving you? Come and stay. That's a supply. So all conditions satisfied. That is a supply. All the three conditions have to be satisfied. Okay. I have a car. Okay. I give it to another person. I had purchased at 10 lakh rupees. Okay. I gave it to somebody at 5 lakh rupees. Is there a supply?
Yes.
Yes. I have sold the car. Is there a consideration?
Yes.
Yes.
But 5 lakh. Is it in the course of business?
No.
No.
My business is not purchase and sale of car. One of the days out of every 5 years, if I have a habit of changing the car, in 5 years once I will sell. Not every day. So that is not my business. Supply is there, consideration is there, no business, no need to pay tax. Because that is not a supply at all. Clear? I have a
Yes,
laptop, okay, which I've used for 20 years now. 10 years I used that laptop. Next 10 years it was used as a vegetable chopping device by my mom. It was very thick, no? Right? Perfect size it was. All right. So 20 years I've used this laptop. Okay. Now I have donated it to a NGO. Papa, why they took it, I don't know. It was to dispose of, they'll have to pay 1,000 rupees now. Okay. I donated this to a NGO. All right. Is there a supply? Yes, I have given.
Yes.
Is there a consideration?
No, sir.
It is not a supply. Therefore, all the three conditions have to be satisfied. Only then the transaction is treated as supply. Even if one condition is not satisfied, it is not a supply. Let's take another example. Okay, I am in the business of purchase and sale of mobile phones. Okay, in the course of business, there was a friend who came and said, I want a phone. I gave him the phone free of cost. Is there a supply?
Yes.
Yes,
sir.
there is. Because supply does not mean only sale. Sale, transfer, barter, exchange, lease, license, rental, or any other form is a supply. So have I supplied to him something? Yes. Is it in the course of my business?
Yes.
Yes, sir. My business only is give, take. It is in the business. But have I charged consideration?
No.
Then it is not a supply. Right? I am a NGO. I have received 1 lakh rupees donation from Prithviraj. After he finished his CA exam, CA inter exam, he was so happy. Okay, but no friends left because he was reading for exam for 4 months. He's lost touch with all the friends. Now what to do? So he said, I have got 10,000 rupees. I will donate it to one foundation. So he donated to a foundation. Is it the business of foundation to get donation? Yes. Is there a consideration? Yes. But is there an underlying supply? Nothing. So there is no supply, but there is consideration, there is business. No need to pay tax. Correct now? Okay. Now Prithvi realizes, oh, I don't have friends also. Forget girlfriend. Friends only I don't have. At least if I have a friend who is a girl and he says we are just friends, it is still better. Here I don't have friends also. Correct? So worst situation. So what I will do, opposite Mount Carmel, there is one toilet. Okay, same example. There, I will print one poster of mine and stand like this. With my phone number here, email address here. hotbabe@hotmail.com. Right? So I have an email address and my phone number, I will write it here. Okay, and I have one photo like this in MCC. Right? So there is an NGO who is working there, who has set up the toilet, okay, and who is maintaining the toilet. Now Mr. Prithviraj could have given them a 50,000 donation. He said, no, I will give you 50,000 rupees. You will have to keep my holding with a photo like this, with a photo like this, with a photo like this. Same way, like my videos are coming now. Like that, you will have to keep all my photos, right? With my phone number and email ID and a QR code. Right? So if they scan the QR code, they automatically Ola booked the cash will be paid by me, they will come to my house. Right? So that is the technology is working on. Now look at this. Is there a consideration in this transaction?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is there a supply in this transaction?
Yes.
The NGO had to give that premise on rent or the holding on rent. They had to use their resources and lend it out to Mr. Prithviraj for 1 year or till he finds a girl, whichever is later. Because that girl will come and then again go. So again, he'll have to spend the expense. So it was whichever is later. Right? Okay. And is it the business of NGO? Yes. They're ready to give that kind of advertisements. You have seen a lot of places, gardens sponsored by Infosys, police station sponsored by Wipro. What is the link between police station and Narayan Murthy? Still they are sponsoring. No, that is for advertisement. If you go to airport, there's so many cases where they have sponsored that big garden. Okay, they will pay lakhs of rupees. So here, though it is donation, it looks like donation, the other person has to give something in return. Though the name is donation, it will be liable to tax. Okay, but say assuming your own school comes back and says we want to build another block, okay, and all the alumni please contribute. I will not pay for my school, okay, for whatever they've done to me. But assuming they collect 10,000 rupees from Mr. Ravish, okay, and Ravish heavily pays. So there they will write in loving memory of, best wishes from Ravish. Okay, so now you see that money which has been given is for construction of building, but not for advertisement. It is not for advertisement. It is only to acknowledge the person who has paid the money. There's a lot of difference. No, when we are talking about our friend Prithvi, that was exactly advertisement only. He wanted to advertise himself. But when it is Mr. Ravish, we want to remember him. Correct? That's why he paid the money. Our school wants to acknowledge his contribution, but not to advertise him. So when Ravish gives 10,000 rupees to his school, it is not a supply, not liable to tax. But when Mr. Prithvi gives money to the NGO, that is like a donation, but actually it is a supply, it will be liable to tax. Is this clear? Okay. Next. I hope we are not very slow. Yeah, we are on time. Don't worry. Okay. Then we have import of services. There they say, forget business. Have you imported something? Pay tax. No, it is not in my business only. For my personal use, I purchased. No, you have to pay tax. That's all. No, for that I have to register. That we will talk in section 22. Now you pay tax. Now I am only telling you whether it is a supply or not a supply. Is it a supply? Yes. I downloaded only one, movie on Netflix. Which one I don't know. Right? On Netflix, I downloaded a movie and they are charging me 50 rupees for that as rent. Is it liable to GST? Yes, it is liable to. Because Netflix is a company outside India. You are in India. It is import of service. It is a supply. You have paid money through your credit card, your dad's credit card. Please pay tax on the same. Whether tax is payable or not, we'll come to it later. Is it a supply? Yes. So you will have a lot of questions. In RTP also, they've asked a very interesting question. Okay, they've given 4 transactions. Of that 4 transactions, 2 are exempt, 1 is taxable, and the 4th transaction is not a supply at all. Smartly what they have asked the question, please tell us which of these following transactions is a supply. Okay, first transaction is a donation. The next two transactions is, one is education, third is hospital, and fourth is a taxable transaction. Now, which transaction is a supply? Second, third, fourth is supply. Donation is not a supply. So they are not saying, please tell me which is a taxable supply. They are saying which is a supply. Donation is not a supply. Other three things are supply, may not be taxable. We are not bothered about that. What we are bothered about is whether it is a supply or not a supply. Correct? No? Okay. So that is 7.1b. Now we have 7.1 she. Now what does 7.1 she says? 7.1 she says, forget she. Prithvi, forget she. Consideration is not important. If it is a transaction specified in schedule 1, you have to pay the tax. Okay. What are those transactions? 2 minutes we will discuss. Okay. So that is 7.1 ABC. Properly flow was going on. They said, no, all the CA students get to know what is 7.1 ABC. So let's add one more adjustment to it. So they added 7.1 AA to break our flow. Okay. This was added retrospectively. That means it was added from 1st July 2017. Now what happened? In income tax, we have something called as concept of mutuality. What is concept of mutuality? I cannot make profits from myself. So whenever I transact with myself, income tax is not applicable. Correct? So when I and the association of person where I am also a person, I contribute some money to that association, and end of the day, association has some surplus left. That is not the income of the association. That is savings of the association from all the members. Shetty sir's example I'll give you, which is the best example I have come across on this topic. Pradyumna and friends, including me. Friends only know, right? All of us after.
Yes.
Yeah, for the time being. Right? Okay. So all of us decide to go for a small party after exams are over. Okay. So all of us contribute 2,000 rupees for that party. Right? But the final expense actually comes out to 5,000. Sorry, not 5,000. 1,200 rupees only. Right? So it comes to 1,200 rupees. Now, end of the day, 800 rupees is left with the association. Can I say that I have made 800 rupees profit and so I am required to pay income tax on that? I have transacted with myself. Correct? The same principle was before Supreme Court in Kolkata Club. Okay, where the club said the members are contributing to the club. Whatever is left over is being used. So income tax for first is not chargeable at all. Okay, I'm sorry, the question was not on leftover, because leftover is only for income tax purposes, profit. Okay, the question was, when member pays something to enter the club, to use the facilities of a club, okay, is it liable to GST or not? The argument before the Supreme Court was, what is club? It is me only. Club is association of person. It is me. It is 20 me's which has become we. Correct? No. So how can you ask me to pay tax when I'm transacting with myself? Kolkata Club, amazing. Me became we. Amazing. No need to pay tax. Supreme Court said. Okay. Now people sitting in Lok Sabha said, what is this? We are losing money now. It is not a supply. Huh? Make it deemed supply. That's all. So then what they did, 7.1 AA, they said supply includes transaction between person and members. Right? So when there is a person, which is the club, and there are members of the club, and when there is a transaction between both of them, it is not a supply. Deemed supply. Pay. That's all. Don't go to Kolkata Club, don't go to Supreme Court, you have to pay. So because of that, all the associations will now be liable to pay GST from 1/7/2017. Is this clear? If they have not paid, if they have paid, then no problem. If they have not paid, then retrospectively they will have to pay. Clear?
Yes.
Next, section 8, composite supply versus mixed supply. Right? Now, when there are more than one supplies in a transaction, okay, and those supplies are linked to each other, where one is a principal supply and other is incidental, or other is to enjoy the principal supply, then even though there are two supplies in this transaction, it will be treated as a composite supply of the principal supply. What is this? Simple. Caps, you paid money, you got you got one caps material. That caps material is the reason why you came to caps, or you wanted to attend Hanish's GST class. Tell me frankly.
Hanish sir,
It's
GST
a
class.
GST
Obviously.
Yeah, perfect. That's why you came now.
Yeah.
Don't say this to Chetty sir. Okay. So now this book is only incidental to enjoy the classes or to facilitate you with the classes, so that you don't have to draw the chart, you don't have to make the same spelling mistake which I have done in my notes, right? You can do new mistakes now, right? So now this material has been given to you to facilitate. That is not your consumption, even if that material was not given, because during my time there was no material only. We used to write the notes, everything, right? Now it has been given to you to facilitate the education. So what is the supply now? Is it supply of books and so exempt from tax, or is it supply of coaching services and so liable to GST?
Coaching.
Coaching service.
Coaching, so liable to GST. Books is not liable to GST. Now tomorrow CAPS cannot say, no, I am supplying book, but because students cannot understand what is written in the book, by the way, I am giving coaching. So exempt from tax, no need to pay GST. Correct? No? Okay. Now I go to a medical store to buy Crocin. Okay, or say Dolo 650. Okay. Now he charges me say 5 rupees. He will charge me GST also on that. Correct? GST is applicable on that or not? Because what have I purchased? I have purchased a medicine which is liable to GST. Now I go to a doctor. I've got headache. I've got fever. They say you have to admit. Okay. I get admitted in the hospital. What is the tablet they give? Dolo 650 only. Okay. But here I will not get to know till the bill comes, because the nurse removes the tablet from the sachet and then gives it to me. From the strip, she is removed. So I don't know which medicine she is giving. Okay. And she gives it to me. Now when I get the bill only, this get Dolo only they are given. Which I would have gone to a pharmacy guy only, he would have only told me. Right. So now they have given me a bill of 20,000 rupees. Okay. Healthcare service is exempt from tax. In the healthcare service, what have they given? Doctor has come, checked. Nurse has come, checked. Right. Then they have given me a bed. They have given me a room. They have given me food. They have given me Dolo 650. Now you tell me, on the 20,000 rupees what they have charged me, is GST applicable? Not applicable.
Not
applicable.
There are multiple activities. I did not go there because the nurse was beautiful there. Correct? No. Maybe I would have gone to that hospital only, but the point was I had to choose one out of 5 hospitals. That was never an option. Correct? I did not go there because the doctor was very pretty there. Right? I went there for my treatment. Now, as part of the treatment, whatever is given to me is a composite supply to enjoy the primary supply of healthcare services. So it will be exempt from GST. You are able to follow? See, one example where principal supply is taxable, incidental is exempt. Still I have to pay full tax. Second example where principal is exempt, everything else is taxable. Still on the entire value I am not required to pay tax because principal is exempt. In a composite supply, where one is principal, other is incidental, okay, the tax will be determined based on the principal supply. If principal supply is exempt, everything exempt. If principal supply is taxable, everything is taxable. Right? Let's take another example, which I had already given to you. Okay, when I buy masala dosa in SLV and say parcel, and he gives it to me in one wrapped in paper and charges me for the plastic container in which he has kept the chutney and the sambar, and charges 5 rupees, correct, Pradyumna? Right? Recently you had a, right? Okay. So he charges me 5 rupees for that, and masala dosa 55 rupees. Totally is charged 55 rupees masala dosa, 5 rupees packing charges. 60 is charged. Masala dosa 5%, plastic container 12%. What is the rate of tax he is going to charge me on 60 rupees?
5%.
Sir, 5%.
No step separator.
No, sir.
See,
No.
order is step separator. Sambar separator, chutney separator, right? But for GST purpose, it is one supply only. It is a composite supply of masala dosa. The entire consideration will be liable to tax at the rate of 5% because they have provided me restaurant services. But that same container, if I go to Mamulpet and buy, they will charge me 12% because there it is not a composite supply. It is a single supply of plastic container. Correct? No? Okay. Mixed supply. What is mixed supply? Outside my college, there was one guy. One guy will say bel puri, one guy will say pani puri, one guy will say masala puri. Everything you mix it up and give. That is mixed supply. No. Mixed supply is multiple supplies which are given at a single price. See, composite supply, if you observe, even though I break it up, it will still be treated as a composite supply. Mixed supply comes into picture when multiple supplies are there, not at all related to each other. In Salman Khan's language, hum aapke kaun? No link only, right? But still it is given at a single price. That is called a mixed supply. Let's take an example. Okay. Now I want to buy an apartment. With the apartment, okay, the builder has written Jaguar free. 1 second. You'll be able to remove that. Yeah. No problem. Yeah. Okay. So the builder said along with the apartment, Jaguar free. Not toilet fittings, sir. Jaguar car. Okay. So Jaguar car free. Okay. The apartment price is 5 crores and Jaguar car is 1 crore. So he is charging me 5 crores for that apartment. Okay. Now what is he giving me at that single price? He's giving me apartment. He's giving me Jaguar car. Correct? Is it two supplies not related to each other?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
No link only. Correct? No link between the two. Right? So now the GST will be applicable on
Highest.
at the highest rate, which is Jaguar car. 50% rate. For 1 crore gift, you will pay 2.5 crores tax. Correct? Because it is now becoming a mixed supply. Right? So in some cases, Harshvardhan was telling me actually, he bought a house outside the city because he wanted to be in nature. There also Jaguar free, but that was animal. Once in a while he come. So when I went to his house, now housewarming ceremony, okay, and I was booking the car, it said the car 3 minutes away, Jaguar 1 minute away. The app actually, right? Okay. So now come back. Mixed supply is when more than one supply is made at a single price and there is no link between the two supplies. You're able to follow? Okay. Let's take another example. Okay. Now I go to more store. Dil mange more. So I go to more store and I buy. What do I buy? I buy Harpic. I buy a toothpick. Then I buy tissue paper. I buy some vegetables. I buy some fruits. I buy batteries for my remote control. Then I buy iron. I buy iron table. Okay. I buy chair. Some random stuff which does not have anything on it. If you ask me to repeat, I will not be able to repeat. But all these things I have bought. Okay. I go to the billing counter and he says 10,000 rupees and he gives me a bill. Now, should he charge me separate rate or because these are all unrelated products, he has to charge me the highest rate?
Separate.
Why? Because single price is not there. Correct? No. Mixed supply will come into picture only when there is a single price.
Single
there is no single price. For
Single.
every item, there will be a separate price. So it is not a mixed supply. It is separate supplies, multiple supplies. It is neither composite nor mixed. It is separate individual 10 supplies given to you. You are able to follow? That is given by section 8. Section 1 says GST applies to the whole of India. 2, definition. 3, 4, 5, 6, forget it. 7, meaning and scope of supply. 8, composite or mixed supply. You're able to follow?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
What is 9? I also forgot. Sorry. Animation. Okay. What is 9?
Charging section.
Charging section. Okay, 9 is the most important section. Charging section. There are 9.1, 9.2, 9.3, 4, 5 not allowed for us. Okay, because in C also there are only 3 levels. Right? Okay. 9.1, very bad joke. Saga is saying hopeless joke. Okay. So 9.1, 9.2, 9.3. Right? These are 3 sections which you have to remember. What is 9.1? 9.1 says whenever you make a supply, okay, you are required to pay the tax. What does 9.1 say? If you make a supply, you are the taxable person who is required to pay the tax. Is this clear? Very simple.
Yes.
But no tax is applicable on
Petrol.
Alcohol.
alcohol. Yeah. Oh, Meg, how did you get to know when I did like this? It is alcohol. I was asking for water with my friend. See, give me water also. What? Yeah, what is this, Meg? I was asking my colleague water. You're telling alcohol. Okay, right. So 9.1 says there shall be levied a tax called CGST or SGST, depending on which act you are reading, on all supplies of goods or services other than alcoholic liquor for human consumption on the value of supply determined under section 15, and the tax will be collected in such manner as may be prescribed at a rate not exceeding 20%, which will be paid by a taxable person. Even now you have not followed, but I'm just showing off that I remember the section. Right? All the ingredients of GST, what you have to remember, is there in 9 only. Who is a taxable person, what is goods, what is service, intrastate supply, consideration, what you say, threshold rate of taxes, everything is covered in 9.1 only. We'll take each of these elements one by one. Don't worry. Okay. 9.2, no charge. See, GST, very simple to remember. Okay. First will be yes. Second will be no. Third will be compulsory. It's like wedding. In college, there will be yes, sir. Parents will say no. Then there will be compulsory. You have to get married with this person only. Right? Okay. So GST is exactly like that. Sorry, Sagar, very bad joke. What can I do here? A profession. Dhanda hai par dhanda hai. Dhanda hai par dhanda hai. Kya karna? Right? Okay. So now, see, look at input credit also. 16, 17, 18. 16 says credit available. 17 says no credit. 18 says special circumstances. Look at what's the registration. 22, you have to take registration. 23 says you don't have to take registration. 24, forget 22, please take registration. Right? So the sequence is like that only. 9.1, pay tax. 9.2, don't pay tax. 9.3, special. Somebody else will pay tax on your behalf. Correct? Like that. Right? So 9.1, forward charge. Who has to pay tax? The supplier has to pay the tax. 9.2, petrol and petroleum products, nobody will pay the tax till GST Council decides. GST Council is still deciding only. 9.3, RCM. Who will pay the tax? You supply,
Recipient.
somebody else will pay tax on your behalf. That is the recipient. But not all services. Notified goods and services, but for your syllabus, goods and has to be struck down. Because notified services only is applicable to you. Correct? No? Okay, perfect. We will discuss services also in detail after 5 minutes. Whatever I told after 5 minutes, no, you know that I am not going to discuss. Correct? Okay. Next. So here we are only trying to understand different sections. Okay. Section 16, 17, 18. 16 is input credit eligible. 17 is block credit. 18 is special circumstances. We'll cover all of this. Then time of supply, section 12 talks about time of supply in case of goods. 13 talks about time of supply in case of services. 14 not relevant for CA inter. Right? Okay. Then we have notifications. That also you have to remember. Right? Goods, notification 1 of 2017, 2 of 2017. Okay. Services, 11 of 2017, 12 of 2017. RCM, 13 of 2017. Let's make it very simple. This all you will not understand. GST. What is the full form?
and service tax.
Goods and
Goods and service tax.
Then service
It's not
tax.
a question of chicken and egg who came first. We know goods only came first. Correct? So the notification first will start with goods only. Now government wants to collect money by levying GST or want to give exemption?
Collect money.
No, correct. So notification 1 of 2017 is for taxable rate, for tax rates of goods. After tax, they will give exemption. Notification 2 of 2017. Simple. Okay. Now 3 could have been services, but it will be difficult for you to remember. So they said, okay, we will move to the next double digit. First will be taxable, 11 of 2017. Next will be exempt, 12 of 2017. Correct? So first will be taxable, second will be exempt, third will be special, 13 of 2017. You have to remember only 11, 12, 13. If you know that something is taxable, no, you can close your eyes and write in your own paper. When you close your eyes, you don't know whose paper you're writing. Correct? No, in your own paper, that judgment you have, okay? And you can write, as per notification 11 of 2017, this service is taxable. As per notification 12 of 2017, this service is exempt. As per notification 13 of 2017, this service is liable to tax under reverse charge mechanism. Okay, that's all. Perfect. Correct? No, life is so simple. We have complicated because we have income tax also, sir. Sir, you are telling only GST is simple. Now, like that, 11 will be something else in income tax. 11 will be something else in Companies Act. 11 will be something else. When I'm writing GST paper, I'm thinking of Companies Act. That is your problem, was not my problem. Correct? Right. Okay. So this is all about the section which you have to remember. Now we'll do fill in the blanks. 7 over, 8 over, 9 over, 10.
Composites.
Composition scheme, not composite supply. Composition scheme. 11.
Exemption.
Exempted. Here only, no relevance only this. 11 is exemption. 12, 13 covered. 16, 17, 18 covered. Sufficient. 22, 23, 24, if you want to remember, you can remember. 22 is when am I required to obtain registration. 23 is when I am not required to obtain registration. 24 is mandatory registration. Don't read more than this sections, otherwise they will get a doubt that you have opened the book and written the exam. That this many sections you remember, that's all. Right? Can we move ahead?
Yes,
You want to
sir.
break?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
2-3 minutes you want a break?
Yes, sir.
Not required? You know, when we have seminars, no, which are like 5 hours, 6 hours, no, we'll say, can we take a 2 minutes comfort break? So you guys want a 2 minutes comfort break?
As you said, sir.
No, I
It's
don't
fine.
take it. I'm comfortable. No worries. Right, then let's move ahead. Okay. Now let's go to those topics which I said we will cover after some time. Okay. I hope that you forget all those difficult topics which I did not cover, because I want to make this class very simple. Okay, so that when feedback comes, they'll say, so very simple, very easy. Okay, examination, whatever happens, who cares? Right? Okay. So now let's go to section 2, subsection 52, and section 2, subsection what? 102. Very good, Harshvardhan. Right? Section 2, subsection 52, and section 2, subsection 102. Apurva, what happened? Yeah? Right? 52 is goods, 102 is services. Correct? Right. So what is the definition of goods? Because GST can be applied only on something which is goods. GST can be applied only on something which is service. If something is not goods, something is not service, GST cannot be applied on that at all. Correct? So what is goods? Okay. If you go to section 2, subsection 52, it defines the term goods. It says anything movable. So anything which can move is goods. Dog, telling you seriously, goods.
Yes.
It is goods. Minka Gandhi should not feel bad, but actually for GST purpose, it is goods. Right? Wheat, rice, the pen which I am holding, the tablet which I have, the Jaguar keys which I have. No, that is toilet fitting. Sorry. Okay. So anything which is movable. is goods. All right. The table on which the laptop is being placed, it might be difficult for me to move from one place to another, and it might require 3-4 people. Or if it is, fastened to the wall with screw, then I might have to remove it and then move it out. Okay. Or ceiling fan, it might be difficult to move. Okay. But if it can be moved, it is movable. I may choose not to move it. From 20 years, it is lying there only. That is its job. Okay. I might choose not to move it, but if I can move it, it is movable. Okay. Something which cannot be moved cannot be treated as goods. Example, land. One doubt I have. GST time, all this doubt should not come. See, where is land on Earth? Earth is moving.
Yes, sir.
Relative.
Astronomy classes are not in GST. In GST, when I switch on Google Map, same place my house is there. That means it is not movable. It is immovable. Correct? No?
Yes.
So all this Vishweshwara doubt you please don't get in GST. Especially when we are preparing for exam. Right? Okay. So land is immovable. Building?
Movable.
Lift in the building?
Movable.
Movable or immovable?
Movable.
If lift does not move, why is it called lift? It is not lifting only. But is lift movable or immovable?
Movable, sir.
The Supreme Court in Kone Elevators case, Kone Elevators is a company which manufactures lift, said when you are manufacturing, it is definitely movable. But when you go to the customer site and fix it, now you cannot remove it without causing any damage. Correct? Without causing any damage, you cannot remove the lift as is. So it becomes immovable in nature. Okay. So now the issue came, AC, air conditioner, movable or immobile. They said it is fastened. You can remove it. It will look dirty there because that you wanted to save the painting cost, so you did not get the painting done. You fitted the AC and then got the painting done. Correct? It might look dirty, but can you remove it without causing any substantial damage to the structure? Yes, you can. And move it to another location. See, it was hitting your head straight away. You wanted it to hit your legs now. Okay, so you move the direction. Is it movable? Yes, 100% movable. Has it caused damage to any structure? No. Correct. In fact, it saved damage to the structure, which is your head. Correct. But if you have a wall and you want to remove only one brick out of that wall, can you do it?
No, sir.
No.
Causing a damage to that wall, you cannot remove the brick. Immovable. Correct, no? Metro pillar, when Hanumanji carries it and puts it, Hanumanji means modern day trailers. Okay, in the factory it is manufactured, and the trailer that what is a pillar is transported to the site, movable. But once after pouring concrete, it is installed. Now it is immobile. If you want to move it, you have to break it. You cannot move it. It is not usable anywhere at all. Correct, no? So when you can move something, even if it is difficult, but you can move it from place A to place B, it is, even if there is some difficulty, it is movable. But when you cannot move it, or when you move it, there is a structural damage that you may not be able to use it completely, right? It becomes immobile in nature. Clear, everyone?
Yes.
Right. So if it is movable, it is goods. If it is immovable, it is not goods. Okay. Schedule 3 and Schedule 2 gives us a very good example. It says land is not taxable. Schedule 3 says land is not taxable. So sale of land is not liable to tax. And completed building is also not taxable. Why? It is not taxable because it has become immovable. That does not mean incomplete building is movable. It means it is work in progress. It is a service which I am giving to somebody. An incomplete building is a service what I am giving to somebody. But when it is complete, it is no longer a service. It is no longer a goods. It is immobile property which is not liable to tax. Clear, everyone?
Yes.
Makes sense? Okay, right. Now they say money and securities is neither goods nor service. So it is neither, you buy Reliance shares, no need to pay GST because it is neither goods nor services. When they say security, don't get it out. G4 securities. We are talking about shares, bonds, debentures, etc. Okay, and money. When we say money, all of you would have watched Fuzzy web series. Sagar, पढ़ ले रे थोड़ा. Hey, he say, yeah, watch it. My God, that was a trick question, Sagar. I cannot tell you chullu par pani mein doob ke maro. You have so much of water. Huh? Right. Okay. Very bad, Sagar. Right. You watch Father. That will not. Okay. Very good. Right. Okay. So now, money means what? Money. Hey, Harshita, what happened?
Nothing, sir.
Yeah. So money is anything which RBI recognizes as money. Okay. Anything which RBI recognizes money is money. So it could be a 2000 rupee note, it can be a 500 rupee note, it can be a 100 rupee note, or foreign currency is also recognized by RBI. So dollars are also recognized by RBI. So all that is money. So transaction money is not liable to GST. But use of money for consideration is liable to GST. Let's take few examples. Okay. I gave a loan to Ravish for 1 lakh rupees and he has to pay me along with interest. Now interest is for use of money. That interest is liable to GST. But when I give him 1 lakh rupees, it is not liable to GST. When he gives me back that 1 lakh rupees, it is not liable to GST. But interest what he pays may be liable to GST, but there is an exemption for interest, so I don't pay the tax. If that exemption is removed, it is liable to GST. Okay. Interest other than credit card interest is exempt from GST. So now, if I don't have money, I want to buy something, I buy it through my credit card. Okay, bank is giving me loan. I don't make the payment within the due date. Bank is going to charge me interest. Okay, when I pay back this money along with interest, that interest will be liable to GST because exemption is given only to interest other than credit card interest. You're able to follow? Okay, this side people are also able to follow. This side people are also able to follow. Okay, very good. Right. Okay. So now, if I go to a bank says I will give you 5 lakh rupees loan, but for that I will charge you 1% as processing fee. Right? It is use of money for consideration, liable to GST. Right? I have some dollars with me, $500. I go to a AD, who is called an authorized dealer or a forex dealer. I go to him and I say, I've got $500, convert it to rupees and give it to me. He will convert it, not liable to GST. But for that conversion, he will charge me commission. That commission is liable to GST. Okay. Now you're going in an auto rickshaw. Okay. You have 100 rupees, but the bill came to, or the meter read as 50 rupees. He does not have a change. Okay. And you don't have UPI access also. Okay. So now what you will do? You'll go to a store nearby. You will say, take this 100 rupees, give me 250 rupees. He gives you 250 rupees. That transaction is transaction money, not liable to GST. Clear, everyone? Okay. Then, but goods includes actionable claims other than growing crops, unless it is severed to be agreed to be severed as part of a contract. Let's sever the discussion one by one. Okay. So actionable claims are goods, but if you read Schedule 3, only 3 actionable claims are liable to GST. What are those?
Gambling.
Betting, gambling, lottery. Harshvardhan, that example does not suit you. Your name, it does not suit what answers you're giving. Okay. So now actionable claims are goods, but only 3 kinds of actionable claims are liable to GST. What are those? Betting, gambling, lottery. Clear, everyone? Makes sense? Okay. Now, growing crops, trees are all part of the earth. They're not liable to GST. But if you enter into a contract where you say you will chop them off and give it to the customer, then that becomes goods. See, mango on a tree is an immovable property. But you agree to pluck it and give it. It is a movable property. Is this clear? Tree is an immovable property. No, sir, I can break the branch now. The entire tree is a immovable property. But if you agree to break the branch and sell that branch, it becomes a movable property. Clear, everyone? Okay. Right. Now let's go to services. Beautiful. Service means anything other than goods. So whatever is not goods will become services. Very, very wide definition. Anything. Okay. Other than money and securities. Luckily, they said money and securities not goods also, not service also. Right? Okay. But use of money or use of securities for consideration. I buy Reliance share. Not taxable. But the brokerage house is going to charge me brokerage for that. That brokerage is liable to GST. Clear, everyone? Now, the service
sir.
means anything becomes a big problem. It means the scope of service is so huge that anything which is commercial in nature will become liable to tax. Okay? Sale of land, not taxable. Sale of land, not taxable. Okay? Renting of land,
taxable.
Taxable.
leasing of land,
Taxable.
there is something called as development rights. You have the land. You are giving that land to me for developing that land. So you had that right as an owner, you had the right of development. You gave it to me. When you give it to me, that is also liable to GST. Because only pure sale of land is not taxable. Any rights in the land not equal to sale, anything inferior to that, all of it will be taxable under the GST law. Clear?
Yes.
Yes.
Alcohol, petrol, we already discussed. Then we move to Schedule 2. What is the job of Schedule 2? Nurse in the delivery ward. What's the job of Schedule 2? Nurse in the delivery ward. Is it a boy? Is it a girl? That's all. Correct? What happened to them? What ideas you were getting? You're thinking, what is this new topic we are discussing? Huh? The job of Schedule 2 is only to tell whether that supply is goods, whether that supply is service. The role of Schedule 2 is not to tell that it is goods or service, or it is a supply of goods or service. If it qualifies supply for consideration in the course of business, and now we don't know whether it is goods or service. Correct? Because we have to find out the HSN code to find out the rate of tax. Goods will be HSN 1 to 98. Services will be 99. So, okay, forget all that. To decide whether to go under notification 1-2 or notification 11-12, you should know the gender, no? How will you know? One men's toilet is there, women's toilet is there. You have to decide, no? How will you decide? Based on the person in the delivery ward who told you, men, women, correct? Now, how to decide whether to go to left hand side or right hand side? That role is given to Schedule 2. Schedule 2 says it is goods or it is services. Right? Okay. Now let's look at few examples of what is goods. Okay. Sale of a property is goods. Renting of the property, service. Let's take an example. My best example. What? Laptop. Forgotten. Okay. I buy a laptop from the shop. It is sale of goods. I take the laptop on rent. It is a renting services. When the property is transferred, it is sale. When the property is not transferred, but a right is transferred, it is a service. Clear, everyone? Okay. Then renting, leasing, or construction of an immovable property till the immovable property is complete is all services. So if I take a property on rent for my office, it is a service. If I take an under construction property, if I buy it, it's a service which the developer is giving to me. Right? Job work. What is job work? Working on somebody else's product is job work. Very simple. I have a t-shirt. I want on the t-shirt to be printed caps alumni. Okay. Batch 22, 23. Some pullover you would have made, no, for yourself, or you will make, or you'll be in the process of making. You have purchased the t-shirt from your friend who is in Mamulpet. Now you are going to give it to some guy who knows printing. When you give that t-shirt for printing, the guy does printing job on your product. It is called job work. Correct now? Okay. Then personal use of business asset. You are working on office laptop and watching Instagram. For which if your employer charges you anything, using business asset for personal use. You were supposed to be dropped at office. You said, no, drop me to house only. Your employer says, for that extra drop, I will charge you because your drop was only till house. That will be service. How they will track it, I don't know. But whatever Schedule 2 is saying, we have to discuss. That's all. Transfer of intellectual property. Permanent transfer is goods. Temporary transfer is services. Let's take an example. Okay. I have a copyright. Okay. I have written Harry Potter. You know that? I have written Harry Potter. So now the rights over Harry Potter is with me. And that right over that broom also is with me. In my house, that right is with my mom. But otherwise, against the entire world, it is with me. Okay. So now, if somebody wants to use Harry Potter to manufacture t-shirts and have Harry Potter designs, they have to ask my permission. Okay. And for that permission, I charge money. I am giving them permission only to use Harry Potter photo for printing t-shirt. Somebody else comes, I will give them right to print Harry Potter photo on the trousers. Somebody else, you can make animation. Somebody else, you can make caps. Right? Somebody else, you can make the, real life size, statues of Harry Potter or miniature statues of Harry Potter. They'll keep moving like this. So I am giving rights to different people and I'm collecting money because the overall right is with me. Temporarily for everyone I'm transferring. That is transfer of an intellectual property service. But suddenly I'm too bored to discuss it. 20 people every day, somebody will come. No, I will not pay 1 crore, I will pay 5 crores, I will pay 10 crores. I don't want to deal with all these things. I said, okay, you take 50 crores. Now I have permanently transferred everything. That is goods. Okay, or let's take another example. Now Twitter says for blue tick, you have to pay money. Okay, so when I'm paying money, I'm using one of the services of Twitter, which will give me a blue tick. Correct? On my WhatsApp to remove blue tick, I will pay money. In Twitter to get blue tick, I will pay money. What life? Okay, so now what I will do is I will pay Twitter for this. Tomorrow, Twitter, which is a software or an app, is entirely sold to me. I buy that entire Twitter only. That will become goods. When intellectual property is transferred temporarily, it is a service. When it is transferred permanently, it becomes goods. Clear?
Yes.
Make sense? Okay. Then obligation to refrain from an act, to tolerate an act, etc. are services. They've got given a beautiful circular also. We'll discuss it after I have read it. Okay. We'll discuss it. Don't worry. Right? Okay. And supply of food and beverages. So when I go to eat Rava Idli, 80% is Rava Idli, 20% only is the extra masala. No. Right? Still, Schedule 2 says supply of food and beverages is restaurant service. It has to be treated as a service, though 80% is goods. That's all. If nurse has said he is a female, it's female only. That's all. Over. I cannot question. Right? Okay. Then Schedule 3 says sale of land or completed building is neither goods nor services. Clear? Okay. Now that brings us to Schedule 3. 1 second. That brings us to Schedule 3. What does Schedule 3 says? Schedule 3 says, if I tell you something is not liable to tax, please shut up and listen to me. Okay? It is not a supply of goods nor a supply of services. Don't ask me question why, what, how, where. I've told you not taxable, not taxable. Clear? I am not telling this. I am very humble and modest person. Schedule 3 is telling this. Okay. What does Schedule 3 say? Schedule 3 says, when an employee provides services to the employer for which the employer pays salary to the employee in the course of employment, the salary received by the employee is not liable to GST. I will repeat again. There are 3 E's we have to remember. There are 3 E's we have to remember. Employee to the employer in the course of employment. Employee, employer, employment. Okay. If an employee does something to the employer in the course of employment, not being murder, okay, then the salary received by him from the employer or the deceased employer to be called, it will not be liable to GST. Clear, everyone? But that should be in the course of employment. Anjana has got something to eat which she does not like. From a face, I can remember khichdi mostly. Okay. So when the employee does something for the employer in the course of employment, not liable to GST. So what can the employee do? Employee will work for the employer. For that, he is getting salary. Okay. Now the employer in turn says, every day one employee comes, 2 employee goes, 1 employee comes, 2 employee goes. Okay. So attrition is very high. Let me do something. Let me serve food to employees at office only. So now they will not be able to tell, sir, I'm going out for lunch break and they will attend interview and come. Now they have to sit here only, interview time also. So now they cannot go at home only, right? Best. So I will not allow them to go out of the house. So I will serve them food here itself, right? This is a perquisite which has been given to employee as per the employment contract. Right? In the employment contract itself, it will be said salary will be 1 lakh per year and every day food will be served. Okay, that will be the contract. So likewise, if the employment contract says that the employer is required to do something for the employee, that will be treated as a perquisite even for income tax purposes, and so you are not required to pay GST on the same. Is this clear? So any salary or perquisites given by the employer to the employee in the course of employment, no need to pay GST on the same. Make sense? But employer says, I will give you pick and drop services, but chargeable. Okay, now this is no longer a perquisite. Even if it is charged at a concessional rate, but some amount is recovered from the employee, it will become taxable. It should not be chargeable from the employee. He should be able to travel free of cost, and the benefit should be given to everybody. The food should be given to everybody. If only Anjana is eating, taxable. If everybody gets that food, that means it is part of the employment contract, exempt. Clear? Make sense? Okay.
Yes.
Right. Now, if the employee has a property and the employer has taken that property itself on rent. So now employer pays for two transactions. One, salary, and second, rent. Rent will be liable to GST because now it is not in the course of employment. Correct? Next, when employer gives gifts to the employees, it should not be taxable. And section 17.5 head says, what does 17.5 head say?
250,000.
Sorry? 17.5 head to block trade. Like your answers. Goods lost, stolen, destroyed by fire, destroyed or disposed of by way of gift or samples, you will not get input credit. So if the employer gives any gift to the employee, right, he will not be entitled to input tax credit. But if the value of the gift is more than 50,000 rupees, Schedule 1 says, if the value of the gift is more than 50,000 rupees, it is deemed to be a supply. So now if during Diwali, a Gujarati jeweler gives a gift more than 50,000 to his employees, let him give the gift to employees. He will have to give gift to the government also, 18% tax. And if he gives car, 50% tax. If he gives jewelry, 3% tax. Right? So depending on what he gives, if it is more than 50,000, it will be liable to tax. But up to 50,000 rupees gift, not taxable. Now, cash given 75,000,
Whole.
Not taxable.
not taxable only. Income tax, you forget. Income tax, it might be taxable. In GST, it is not goods. Deepa madam, not going only inside. Yeah? Like a bullet will go. This concept has to go slow. It has to be absorbed. It will not go directly. Right? Okay. So money given, not taxable. Gift in kind, more than 50,000 will become taxable. Clear, everyone? Okay. Court and tribunal. If you pay any fees to court or tribunal, it is not liable to GST. Okay. Functions of MP, MLA, or any person who holds a constitutional post will not be liable to GST. Okay. Funeral, including crematorium, transportation to the crematorium, destination based consumption tax. Destination is outside India, destination outside the earth itself, spiritual world. So no need to pay tax. Correct now? Yeah. Land, building, and land and complete building we have already discussed. Okay. Now one interesting circular was issued. It's part of your RTP also, but let's discuss that. Okay. I said I have, I am very poor, humble person. Okay. So I have some 10 acres of land in MG Road. Okay. So now I sell that land as is to Harshvardhan. Is it liable to GST?
No.
No. Schedule 3. It is neither goods nor services. I am selling a land, not liable to GST. What I do is this 10 acres of land, I cut it into 10 plots of 1 acre each. Okay. Now I will level the ground. I will lay some water pipes. I will lay some electrical cables and then give it to you. Some small work here and there I will do, cut the plots and then give it to you. 1 acre to 10 people. Okay. Now is it liable to GST?
No.
A recent circular has been issued which said still the predominant intention of the parties is to sell the land itself, and so it is not liable to GST. All right. So if I work on something, I develop it and then sell it, it is still not liable to GST. Clear? Okay. Because
Yes,
the essential contract is for land only. I am not going there. Oh, what pipelines is laid? Beautiful. For that, I am not buying that land. Correct? No. Right. So it will still be treated as sale of land and not liable to GST. Clear? Okay. Then actionable claim other than betting, gambling, and lottery. Betting, gambling, and lottery are liable to tax. All the other actionable claims. What are actionable claims? Claims on which I can take action. In the last example, I gave Ravish 1 lakh rupees. That is not liable to tax. Ravish is not giving me back the money. Now I hire Sunil and say, Sunil, you give me 1 lakh rupees. Now you collect that money from Ravish. So there is a claim by me against Ravish on which I can take an action which is transferred to Sunil or file a case against him. Whatever action I want to take, I can take. That claim on which I can take an action, which is an unsecured debt, is called an actionable claim. Right? Anything more if I have to tell, I will have to read because even I don't know. Right? So forget it. It's a concept in the Transfer of Property Act, which is a little complex topic. Okay. Then we have 3 transactions on which GST is not levied. Okay. Essentially, these are all the transactions where the sale takes place before bill of entry for home consumption is filed. What are those 3 transactions? I am in India. Any doubt?
Yes.
No.
sir.
No way. You cannot go outside India. Outside Bangalore also you cannot. Right. Correct. So now I have a vendor in Africa. I have a customer in Australia. Okay. So I call my vendor in Africa and tell him, send diamonds to my customer in Australia. Straight away, out to out transaction. It never touches India. Maybe that flight also did not come out above India. It took a deviation and went. So no link only. Correct? So now this transaction where the goods do not enter the taxable territory but move from one non-taxable territory to another non-taxable territory is not liable to GST. Is this clear? That is one transaction. Second transaction is goods are coming from Africa to India. Goods are coming from Africa to India. Before it comes to India, okay, how does the ship owner, the captain of the ship, will know that I am the owner of the goods? I have something called as bill of lading. If I have to go to VRL to claim the goods, I have to show lorry receipt. No, correct. If you want to go to the library, you have to carry the library card. Correct. Likewise, you will have to prove that you own something. How do you prove? In case of shipping of goods, it is a bill of lading. So behind the bill of lading, I will autograph and say sold to Miss Apurva. Okay. Now this bill of lading, I have given it to Apurva. She paid me money. As of now, she's not paid. But for the example purpose, she is paid. Okay, Apurva, when are you paying? Huh?
Yes, sir,
That's what she does. Even on calls, she does not answer only. Right? Okay. So now she's paid me 5 lakh rupees. I have given her the bill of lading. She will go to the captain of the ship and say, look, it belongs to Mr. X, but Mr. X has transferred the property to me. Okay. Now look at this. In this transaction, both Apurva and me, both are in India, but goods are outside India. In the first case, the buyer and the final seller are outside India, no tax. In the second case, both of us are in India, but goods are outside India, so no need to pay tax. Is it clear? Now let's move to the third example. Okay. I have a warehouse, which is a customs warehouse, not a regular warehouse. I don't have a warehouse in Yashwantpur, APMC yard. I have a proper customs warehouse. That means I've taken approval from customs authorities. Okay. Harshita also has one proper customs warehouse. Okay. Now I get the goods from customs, move it to my customs warehouse. The purpose of this customs warehouse is it means it is still under the supervision of customs. It does not belong to me. It is still under the supervision of customs. That is why it's called customs warehouse. Okay. Now even Harshita has a customs warehouse. So I sell the goods to Harshita and deliver it to her customs warehouse. Okay. Now look at this. Both of us are in India. Goods are also in India. But where are they? Under the supervision of customs. They don't belong to me. They are not forming part of India. They are still outside the territory of India. Physically, they are in India. They'll be in Kamakshi Pale only. But virtually, they are outside India because they are customs property. Right? I have not filed the bill of entry for home consumption. In this case also, the transaction between Harshita and me is not liable to GST. Let's look at all the 3 cases. First case, vendor and the end customer and the goods all are outside India. Second, vendor, customer in India, goods outside India. It is called high C sale, not taxable. Third case, vendor, customer in India, goods in India but in the warehouse, customs warehouse, not liable to GST. Are you able to follow? All
Yes.
these are not taxable because of Schedule 3. Right? Okay. Any doubts? No? We'll move ahead.
Yes.
No, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, because we are on the subject of goods and services, let's finish one more topic. Okay. If you are under composition scheme, you should not be a manufacturer of notified goods. What are these notified goods? First it was Pita. Now they added one B also. I think they should have added G. It would have been good. Pita G. Pita B is not sounding good at all. Okay. Now what is this Pita B? It is pan masala, ice cream, tobacco, aerated water, and brick and fly ash. These 5 products, if you are a manufacturer, you are not entitled to composition scheme. Is this clear? Under section 10, you are not entitled to composition scheme. Plus, you have an enhanced limit of 40 lakhs. If the state has issued a notification, then the regular 20 lakhs will become 40 lakhs. That 40 lakhs is applicable only for supply of goods, not for services and intrastate supplies. There also, you cannot be dealing in these 5 products. So this 5 products relevance is, you cannot be under composition scheme. If you are under composition scheme and dealing in these goods, manufacturing these goods, you are out of composition scheme, right? So how to come out of composition scheme? Buy one cigarette and sell it off. Don't consume, right? Buy and sell, right? Otherwise also don't consume, even if you are under regular scheme, right? Okay. Then if you want to claim an enhanced limit from 20 lakhs to 40 lakhs, there also, if you are dealing in this pitab, you are not entitled to that 40 lakhs limit. Your limit will be only 20 lakhs. So now that means if the corner road shop, okay, has a turnover of 1.2 crores, but he is selling Coke, Pepsi, Bindu, what is it? Bindu aerated water.
Jaljeera.
Bindu Jaljeera. Correct? Out of composition scheme. Because that is also aerated water only, no? Or if he's selling ice cream, or if he's selling one small cigarettes. That's how Ravish calls, asked that, one small kodi, sir. One special, right? So if they deal in all of these, they are outside the composition scheme and enhanced threshold limit. Clear, everyone? We
Yes.
move ahead. Okay. Any doubt? Somebody was asking a doubt. No? Okay. Let us do one thing. It's exact 9. Can we reassemble at 9:05? Now I require a comfort break and I am not okay to sit in this position for more than 2 hours. 5 minutes, will come back. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You start.
Yes, sir.
This looks okay. No, actually, this I should have because anyways I'm looking at the screen only. Okay. All right, can you start?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
This we discussed. Okay, director 1 point. Director can be of two kinds. One is executive director, one is non-executive director. So if you're paying him salaries and you're deducting TDS under chapter of salaries 192 or
92.
192, correct? No. So then whatever you're paid to him, he is a employee, so you're not required to pay taxes on the same. But if you're not deducting TDS under salary, but you're deducting under 194J, that means you're treating him as a professional, which means he's not an employee. In that case, whatever payments are made to that non-executive director or sitting fees paid to a director, that will be treated as other than Schedule 3 item. So you are required to pay tax under reverse charge mechanism on services received from the director. Clear? Okay. Right. Now, supply we have already discussed, so I am not covering all of that. Only Schedule 1 we had not covered. So let's cover that Schedule 1 one by one. Okay. Just give me a second. Yeah. Okay. So Schedule 1, there are 4 serial numbers again. Okay. Serial number 1, permanent transfer or disposal of business asset on which ITC has been claimed. Okay. So if you have claimed ITC on something, which is your business asset, and you are permanently transferring or disposing that off, even if you don't charge any consideration for that, you are required to pay GST. So the first rule was that you should charge consideration, only then it is liable to GST. But the third rule is that even if you don't charge consideration, but if it is an asset on which you have claimed the credit, you are required to pay GST. Okay, let's take an example. Okay, again I go to my favorite example of laptop. Okay, correct. No, Deepa already knows the examples also, right? Okay, so let's take an example. I purchase a laptop worth 1 lakh rupees. Okay, and I'm using it for the purpose of my business. All right, but during business hours, I'm doing personal things. But actually, it is for business purpose only. Okay, now I sold it at 75,000 rupees, not in my individual capacity as a student, but in my capacity as a chartered accountant firm. Okay, so is it a supply? Is it for consideration?
Yes.
And is it in the course of furtherance of my business? Yes, because anything incidental to my main activity is also a business, correct? So I was using it for the purpose of my business. It is liable to GST. All right. So I purchased something at 1 lakh, sold at 60,000 rupees. It is liable to GST. Okay. I purchased something at 1 lakh. Okay. I have not claimed input credit. I sold it at 60,000 rupees. Am I required to pay GST? I am not claimed input credit.
Yes, sir.
Still I satisfy 7(1)(a). Supply, consideration, business. See, law is not bothered about whether you have claimed input credit or not. Input was your benefit. You have been given 15 minutes extra that you will come, you read the question for 15 minutes and then you start writing. You arrive at the exam hall 15 minutes late. They will not say, okay, from now 15 minutes will start. No. That was the benefit you were given. You did not utilize it. But when you are selling, please pay the tax because there is supply for consideration in the course of business. Correct? So irrespective of whether you claim the credit or not, if you have sold something in the course of business for consideration, you are required to pay the taxes. Clear, everyone? Okay. I purchase a laptop, okay, and I throw it off because it's of no use. It is like Alia Bhatt in RRR. Right. So now, any GST implication? No, there's no GST implication at all. Okay. I purchased a laptop, claimed input credit on that, okay, and now I have thrown it or given it to an NGO. Is there an implication?
Yes.
Now schedule 1 comes into picture. Government says, look, you claimed input credit. That is a benefit you claimed. Correct. Now you are throwing it off. That means you are not using it for the purpose of business. Why did I give you credit? Because you had to use it for the purpose of business. Now you are not using it for the purpose of business. You are permanently transferring or disposing of a business asset on which ITC has been claimed. Right? So you are not using for the purpose of business. You please reverse the credit. Then my argument will be, first 2 years to at least I've used, no? Then they will come up with the depreciation formula and say 5% per quarter is the depreciation formula. 2 years you have used, so 40% you have used, 60% you have not used according to me. Whatever is the value of the laptop multiplied by 60%, multiplied by 18%, that is the value you are required to pay output tax. You are able to follow? So little full tension, huh? No, not yet. Okay, no, don't worry. Input tax still there. That time you will get tension. RCM is still there. That time you will get tension. Okay. So now, if I give anything free on which I have claimed the input tax, then I am required to pay output tax under schedule. Right? Okay. Next, transaction with related parties or distinct person. Now, who is a distinct person? The persons with different GST but same PAN. Basically, my branch, which can be in the same state, Shruti, or it can be in another state. Correct? No? So if I have a branch in Bangalore, I have a branch in Chennai, same PAN, but different GST, distinct person or related persons. Who are related persons? If I hold more than 25% in another company, that means we both are related. If I control a company, if some company controls me, okay, if both of us control somebody, if somebody's control me, all these permutation and combinations are called related parties. And when I transact with a related party, even if I give something free, I'm required to pay GST on the same. So example, this laptop which I bought, I give it to my related party without any charge. 71A not satisfied, 71B not satisfied, 71AA not applicable at all. 71C says you have transacted with your related party, even if there is no consideration, you are required to pay GST on the same. Clear? Make? Correct? No? Perfect. Very good. Then import of services from related parties. 71B, what did it say? Import of services for consideration. Now schedule 1 is saying forget consideration. If you are bought from related party, even if you don't pay anything, pay me GST. Is this clear? So now if I am say what am I? I am Disney Hotstar. Who is my related party? Disney. Correct. If Disney gives license to telecast some movies in Disney Hotstar in India and does not charge any consideration for that, even then Disney Hotstar will have to assign value for that right and pay taxes under reverse charge mechanism. Correct? But if Disney comes to your house, Mr. Disney only comes to your house and gives subscription to Disney and say, watch how much ever you want, you are not required to pay tax because you are not related to him. Correct? Import of services requires consideration if it is unrelated party. Import of services does not require consideration if the transaction is between related parties. We are using Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, WhatsApp. The person is not related to me. That's why I'm not paying GST. Correct? But once that person is related to me or unrelated party, but consideration paid, it will become liable to GST. So if I buy a Google Drive, okay, or I buy a Netflix subscription, then because there is consideration, I am required to pay tax under reverse charge mechanism. Clear, everyone? Because that will be import of service covered under 71B. We don't have to go to 71C. Okay. So that is import of service from related party. Fourth is the most dangerous. And questions will be asked on 4 only most of the times. Okay. What is this fourth? Principal and agent. Okay. So now, assuming we'll take 2 volunteers. Okay. We will take our friend Ravish and we'll take our friend Harshvardhan. Not that others are not friend. They are very good friends of mine. Okay, so now there is our friend Harish and Ravish and Harshvardhan. Okay, now Ravish has a office in Bangalore. Okay, but he has a lot of customers in Tamil Nadu because Bangalore customers have got to know the quality is horrible. Okay, so Bangalore guys don't want to buy, but he has promoted his product on Instagram so well that Tamil Nadu guys want to buy. Right? So now Ravish cannot go to Tamil Nadu and sell his products. So what does he do? He identifies a person who is the agent. He does not want to open a branch also. Okay. He appoints Harshvardhan as the agent and says, you sell my products in Tamil Nadu. All right. So now what is the arrangement between Ravish and Harshvardhan? Ravish will send the goods to Harshvardhan. Harshvardhan will sell the goods to the customers in Tamil Nadu on behalf of Ravish. Principal agent relationship established. Ravish will get profit. Harshvardhan will get commission. Perfect. Okay. Now there are two ways in which they can do transaction. Ravish will send the goods to Harshvardhan. Harshvardhan will sell the goods to customer in his own name. That means in Harshvardhan's name. In that case, it will be deemed that Harshvardhan is a separate person. Harshvardhan is a separate person, and Ravish has sold the goods to Harshvardhan, and Harshvardhan has sold the goods to the customer. See, otherwise from an accounting angle also, just look at it. Ravish has sent the goods to Harshvardhan. If Harshvardhan is the agent, in his books there is no purchase, but he is selling the goods in his own name. There is sale, but there is no purchase entry. Shetty sir will not allow us to move ahead with him. He said, what is this? There is a trading account where there is sale, there is no purchase. And in Ravish's account, there is only purchase, there is no sale at all. Correct? To complete this double entry, they said, Ravish, you please pass sale entry when you send the goods to Harshvardhan. Harshvardhan, you please pass a purchase entry when you purchase the goods from Ravish. So they are completing the accounting by GST. GST is an all-round subject. Correct? No, it's giving accounting entries also. Right? Okay. So now what GST says is that when the agent sells the goods in his name and not in the name of the principal, in that case, the principal, I'm sorry, one second. One second. Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes, sir.
It will happen. That's why two devices from beginning. With you and me, there will be some issue with GST. GST, of course, has a lot of technical glitches. So whenever there is GST seminar, there will be some technical issue, right? So I'm prepared now. Even if my neighbor does not pay for the Wi-Fi bill, I'm prepared now. I have one more connection of another neighbor. Okay. So now, okay, when the agent sells the goods in his name to the customer, it will be deemed that the principal has sold the goods to the agent. You're able to follow? Okay. But now when principal sends the goods to the agent and agent raises the invoice in the name of the principal to the end customer, it will be deemed that principal has sold the goods to the end customer and agent has provided agency services to the principal. So when Ravi sends the goods to Harshvardhan and Harshvardhan sells the goods, but invoice carries the name of Ravish, it means Ravish has sold the goods to customer. Harshvardhan has provided agency services. Okay. Now here is where a beautiful concept comes into picture. Very beautiful. Okay. You will have to be with me. We have already discussed it. Everything has been discussed. Nothing is new. But I am saying be with me because it's a very interesting concept. I really like this concept. Okay. When 3-4 topics merge together and we don't understand anything, that is a beautiful topic. Okay. So now let's look at this interesting topic. What is this? Okay. Okay. So now we said loan is not liable to tax. Interest on loan may be liable to tax unless there is an exemption. Correct? No?
Yes.
Now, please go back to our discussion in section 15, subsection 2, where we said if I am given a 30-day credit period to make the payment and I don't make the payment within 30 days and my supplier charges me interest, that interest is liable to tax. Do you remember that? We have not discussed it today, but do you remember that? So I will repeat again. I have to pay money to the bank. Bank charges me interest that is exempt from GST. Okay, I borrow money from my supplier. Borrow in the sense I don't make the payment to him within 30 days period. Okay, I make the payment to him on the 60th day. He charges me interest for 30 days. Correct? He will be required to pay GST on the interest collected by him for 30 days. Clear? That is because section 15 subsection 2 says that. Now let's merge all these topics. Okay. Now I go to Sangeeta Mobile. There is no full stop, there is no comma, it is a shop. I go to Sangeeta Mobile. Thank God I'm at office, I'm not at home. Right? Okay. And buy a phone. Right? Or you would have seen near Ashoka Pillar, there is Devi International. Okay. So there, if you are in South Bangalore, you cannot miss that shop. Okay. So there will be 10 TVs in the showroom, but 20 people outside to give you loan for those TVs. Okay. So now I went to Sangeeta Mobile, purchased 1 lakh rupees iPhone. Okay. I don't have money. There is one HDFC loan desk outside who says, you give me your PAN, I will check, I will do the KYC. If you are eligible, I will give you the loan instantly. Okay. So now HDFC will pay money on my behalf to Sangeeta. Right. And I have taken a loan from HDFC. I will do a down payment of 20,000. And for the balance 80,000, along with interest, they will give me a EMI, which I will keep paying. Correct. Now I have purchased goods from Sangeeta Mobile. I have taken loan from HDFC. For sale from Sangeeta Mobile to me, liable to GST. Loan from HDFC, not liable to GST. Interest paid to HDFC, not liable to GST. Perfect. Agreed? Okay. Now, Sangeeta Mobile says, why do you take it from HDFC? I will only give you loan. So now, the seller gives me an option to pay him money in EMI. So what I will do now is I will pay Sangeeta 20,000, and for that 80,000 along with interest they give me say 8,000 rupees is on a monthly basis you have to pay plus 1,000 rupees is interest. So instead of paying me 80,000 rupees, now pay me 9,000 rupees every month. Okay. In this case now the supplier is Sangeeta, who has to pay tax on the phone, which is 1 lakh rupees. Plus they get 8,000 rupees extra in the form of interest for me delaying the consideration. Liable to GST. That 8,000 has been collected from me extra, which is 8,000 into what do you say? Sorry, 8,000 only is collected. No, 1,000 into 10. 10,000 has been collected extra from me. Sorry. Whatever that 1,000 rupees collected from me over 10 installments is the interest what I am paying for delayed consideration. Agreed? That under section 15 subsection 2, Sangeeta has to pay tax on the same because it is no longer a loan transaction. It is now interest collected for delaying payment from the customer. You are able to follow this? Now let's go back to our principal agent. Very interesting. Ravish is in Bangalore. Harshvardhan is in Chennai, Tamil Nadu. Now, who will know the customers better? Whether he will be able to pay me money or not able to pay me money. Ravish will know or Harshvardhan will know?
Harshvardhan.
So now Harshvardhan say, Ravish said, I don't know whom you are calling and giving goods, boss. You do one thing. You know their house. You know where they stay, how much property they have, everything you know, their car, two-wheeler details, everything you know. Okay. So now you do one thing. You become my Del Trader agent. Means I will give you 5% commission, not 2%. I will give you 5% commission. But that commission will be given to you only when I receive the money from the customer. Correct, no? So now the responsibility of Harshvardhan is to collect the money from the customer. Only then he will get the commission. Okay. So now there are two ways of doing the transaction. Ravish sends the goods to Harshvardhan. Harshvardhan sells the goods to the customer in the name of Ravish. In the name of Ravish. So now schedule 1 does not get triggered because the invoice is in the name of Ravish. Okay. Now the customer is not able to pay money. If customer is not able to pay money, Harshvardhan will not get commission. But Harshvardhan knows the house of that customer. He knows that he is capable. So what Harshvardhan does now is, Harshvardhan says, I will give you 1 lakh rupees. You pay to Ravish 1 lakh rupees, so that my commission I will get. Correct? And because I am giving you 1 lakh, you pay me interest for it. Correct? So now what happens? Harshvardhan is getting commission also and is getting interest also. The first transaction is transaction in goods liable to GST. The second transaction is a loan transaction. Giving loan not taxable, taking back the loan not taxable, interest on the loan also is not taxable. Correct? First transaction taxable, second transaction no taxable. Agreed everyone? Simple?
Yes.
Now let's complicate it. Deepa, following? No.
The second part I don't get.
I will repeat again, okay? Now, Harshvardhan has given loan to the customer. Is it liable to GST or not liable to GST?
Not liable.
Customer is going to pay Ravish. On that, Ravish has already discharged tax when he sold. Now, customer will pay interest to Harshvardhan because he has borrowed money from Harshvardhan. Is interest liable to GST, interest or no? No. So whatever Harshvardhan does, except commission, not liable to GST. Correct now? Okay. Now let's look at another transaction. Ravish sends the goods to Harshvardhan. Harshvardhan sends the goods to customer in his name. Schedule 1 comes into picture. Correct or not? Schedule 1 comes into picture. Okay. Now, Harshvardhan is not getting his commission because customer has not paid the money. So Harshvardhan now says, okay, you pay me after 1 month, no problem. But because you're not paying me, you pay me interest. Correct? To the customer is saying, because you're not paying me 1 lakh now, you pay me interest. I will allow you delay in payment of invoice. But to Ravish, what does it say? Sir, collected, 1 lakh rupees collected. I am transferring it to you so that he gets the commission. So in this case also, Harshvardhan is getting commission from Ravish, interest from the customer. But this interest is for a transaction which is deemed to be a supply. Correct? So now, notification 12 of 17 will not come. What will come? 15-2 will come. Because now, between Harshvardhan and the end customer, the transaction is not loan. The transaction is buyer and seller. The interest is for delayed payment of consideration, liable to GST. Amazing, no? Beautiful concept. Have they asked this in the examination? Never. Right? Then it's up to you. Right? Okay. We'll move ahead. Any doubts, you let me know. Otherwise, we'll move ahead. Okay. This is just a repetition of whatever we have discussed, just a summary. But one thing you remember, business means in the course of furtherance of business. So anything directly related to my business, anything incidental to my business, all of it will be treated as business only. Like if I'm a chartered accountant, laptop is not my main business, but sale of that laptop which I use for business purposes will be treated as in the course of business. I subscribe to a lot of magazines. Okay. Now, when I'm not selling magazines, but when it becomes old, I will give it to somebody, Raddi fellow. Okay. And then comes to your house when you're eating bhajis. Correct? No. But the point is, I don't sell magazine. But because it is incidental to my business, when I sell and I get 5 rupees, 10 rupees, whatever the amount is, that is liable to GST. Is this clear? Okay. With this, we finish section 7, 8, 9.1 and 9.2. 9.3 is pending. Okay. Composition scheme is also pending. Exemption is also pending. Okay. Now let's quickly go to input tax credit. Okay, I will not finish it because I don't think we will be able to finish it in the next 10 minutes. At least some introduction to section 16. Okay, section 16 says there are 3 kinds of inputs on which you can claim the credit. One is the raw materials, second is the machinery, and third is the labor, which is nothing but input, capital goods, input services. These are the 3 things on which you can claim the credit. Okay, but these are required to be used or intended to be used for the purpose of business. Again, we'll take our example. I'm a chartered accountant. I have 10 people in my office. Okay, I bought 15 laptops. Only 11 people will use, including me. Right? 4 laptops are extra. It is not used. But the objective is that it will be intended to be used for the purpose of business. I will get the credit. But what I will do, out of that 15 laptops, one I will take it home because my daughter has school online schooling, right? In that case, it is not intended for the purpose of business. On that one laptop, I will not get the credit. On the balance 14, out of that, I'm still using only 11. 3 are still lying like that only. Still, I will get credit on all the 14 laptops because the intention is to use it for the purpose of business. Correct? So on the day of purchase, I will get the credit. See, otherwise, if I buy the goods today and I sell it after 1 year, when will I get the credit? I don't have to use it immediately. I have to show that I have an intention to use. End of it, I may not even use it. 2-3 laptops will just go. After 2 years, I realized that my office from 11 strength has become 5. People are only going, not coming. Right? I might have to throw. But still, when I bought it, there was an intention, right? So I will get the credit. Okay. Now, what are the primary conditions which are required to be satisfied for the purpose of claiming input tax credit? Condition number 1, I should have a GST number. That means I should be registered under the GST law. On the day when I get the invoice, I should be registered under the GST law. Otherwise, I will not get the input tax credit. The fundamental condition is I should be registered. For payment of tax, that condition is not there. For payment of tax, you cross 20 lakhs, that's all over. You have to pay tax. Okay, but for claiming input credit, see, whenever there is a benefit, you will have to claim it. Whenever there is a liability, it will come on to you. Clear? Okay. Second, very important, there has been amendment in the GST law. It should appear in my GSTR to be, whoever is practically doing the returns, they will know the pain of when it comes in 2B, when it does not come in 2B, all those issues. Right? I can see Sunil and Deepa nodding their head because they might have worked in their office. Pradyumna has not worked in his office, only pretends. Right? Okay. So now it should appear in some return called GSTR2B. Now, how does the GSTR2B work? See, basically the returns were very simple. 1, 2, 3. Okay. That 1, 2, 3 never worked. So 1 remained 1, 2 became 2A, 2A did not work, so it became 2B. 3, if you don't file, the notice was supposed to be issued in 3A. 3 did not work, so 3 also did not come, so it became 3B. So now we have 1, 2B, 3B. These are the returns. When I say 1, GSTR 1, that means I am uploading all my sales data. So assuming I've sold goods to 3 people here, okay, I can see in serial, there is Shruti, there is Pradyumna, there is Aditi. Okay, I have sold goods to 3 people. To Shruti, Pradyumna and Aditi. Assuming Shruti and Pradyumna are registered under the GST law. So what I will do when I upload my returns, when I upload my details, the invoice what I've raised on Shruti, I will give her GST number. Okay. When I upload Pradyumna's invoice, I will give Pradyumna's GST number. But assuming Aditi is not registered, she is a student. Okay, she is not registered under the GST law. I will report it in a table called B2C, business to customer. Pradyumna and Shruti, I will upload in B2B, which is business to business. Okay, so that is when I'm filing my GSTR1 on 11th of next month. So if we are talking about March now, for the month of March, I will file my GSTR1 by 11th of the next month. Is this clear? Okay. Now, whenever I upload, the data what I've uploaded against the GST number will be visible to them in the GSTR2B. Whatever I upload. So I uploaded in my returns 2 invoices. Pradyumna will be able to see 1 invoice. Shruti will be able to see 1 invoice because against their GST number, one invoice only has been uploaded. That is called GSTR2B. When a vendor uploads an invoice in his GSTR1, it will appear in the customer's GSTR2B. So the condition is, if you want to claim the credit, if Pradyumna wants to claim the credit on my invoice, it should appear in his GSTR2B, otherwise he cannot claim the credit. Okay. Now what Pradyumna will do, he also filed his GSTR1 minus the credits appearing in GSTR2B. Whatever is the balance, he will pay the tax in GSTR3. Okay, so GSTR 2B generally is ready for Pradyumna by 13th or 14th, depending on your internet speed, depending on department's internet speed, depending on government's internet speed. Between 13th and 14th, they will collate all the GSTR 1 and distribute to GSTR 2B of respective people. Okay, now on 20th, Pradyumna will see what is my GSTR 1 sales, B2B, B2C, everything. What is the amount uploaded by all my vendors appearing in GSTR 2B? So 1 minus 2B will be the tax he will pay in cash in 3B. You are able to follow? So the fundamental condition for availing the credit is the invoice has to be uploaded by the vendor in his GSTR 1 and it should appear in my GSTR 2B. Now why it is important that it is appearing is because if March return I file by 11th of April, which is the due date, Pradyumna, when he checks for 2B of March, he will see my invoice. Okay, but if I upload my returns on 12th of April, that is after the due date, then his 2B is frozen till 11th. Okay, my invoice he will get only in April return. So he will be able to claim the credit only in the month of April. It is very important that the vendor uploads the returns within the due date. If he does not, then the invoice will appear in the next month. So all the transaction completed in this month, but the credit will be available in the next month. You're able to follow, right? So the second important condition for the purpose of availing credit is I should upload in GSTR 1, which effectively means it should appear in your GSTR 2B, right? Third, if you want to claim the credit, you should have a tax paying document, that is a proof that you have paid the tax. Now what is the proof? If I've sold the goods to you, what is the proof? Tax invoice, because whenever I sell the goods to you by charging tax, I should say I give you a tax invoice. If I'm under composition scheme, I'm not collecting tax from you. It is a bill of supply. When I'm sending goods to you which are exempt from tax, I raise a bill of supply. You cannot take credit on that. So whenever you want to take the credit, you should have a tax paying document, which is a tax invoice. If you import the goods, bill of entry. If the credits are getting transferred, input service distributor, not relevant for us. Correct? Or fourth, in case you are incurring expenses which are liable to tax under reverse charge mechanism, then he will not charge any tax on you because he is not required to pay. In that case, you are required to raise an invoice on yourself. That is called self-invoice, where you say bill to me, ship to me, everything to me. Okay, and based on that, you will be able to claim the credit. So what is the third condition based on which you can claim the credit? A tax paying document. What are the tax paying document? Tax invoice, bill of entry, and a self invoice in case of RCM transactions. Clear? The fourth document on which you can claim credit is called a debit note. We will discuss that when we are discussing section 34. I'll also make a note just in case I forget. Section 34 to be discussed. Debit note, credit note. All right, done. Next. Can I take 5 more minutes of yours?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Next condition for the purpose of availing credit is I should have received the goods or services. Meaning, sorry, you should have. Everywhere is saying you in case of credit availment. You should have received the goods or services. Means, assuming, okay, I am selling cement to you. Okay, I am in Kolkata. You are in Bangalore, Kurmangala. Okay, the cement will not come to you overnight. Okay, I have sent the invoice to you on 31st March. You got that invoice on WhatsApp. Okay, so are you a registered person? Yes. Do you have a tax paying document? Yes, you have. Now I have uploaded that invoice for the month of March on April 11th. So is it appearing in your 2B for the month of March? Yes, it is appearing. Correct. So all conditions satisfied. But I dispatched the goods on 31st March and the goods reached you on 5th of April because that is the amount of time it took for transportation from Kolkata to Bangalore. When can you claim the credit? all conditions satisfied on March, but because you have received the goods in April, you can claim the credit only in the month of April. You're able to follow? Only when the goods or services are received, you can claim the credit. But what if now I have to send you 10 trucks? Okay, I have raised a single invoice and I'm sending you 10 trucks. 5 trucks received by you in March itself. 5 trucks came to you on 1st of April. You can take the credit only when all the goods have been received by you. All the goods have been received by you only in the month of April. You can take the credit only in the month of April. But what if I give you 10 trucks and raise 10 invoices? In that case, for 5 trucks, you have satisfied the condition. You can take the credit in March. The balance 5 trucks, you are required to claim the credit in the next month. You are able to follow? Clear? No? Simple. Okay. Now let's look at a very interesting situation. Okay. We have Mehak, we have Sagar. Okay. And we have Sunil also. All 3 are, for me, sitting in the same Cartesian plane. So there's Mehak, Sunil, Sagar. But all 3 are in different states. Assuming Mehak is in Karnataka. Okay. Her vendor Sunil is in New Delhi. And her customer Sagar is in Haryana. Okay. She calls Sunil, who is in New Delhi, and says, you please send the goods. I require some 1 lakh t-shirt pieces. Please send it. But before the dispatch can happen, her customer Sagar in Haryana says, I require 1 lakh t-shirts. So now for Mehak, it does not make sense to get the goods from Delhi to Karnataka and send it back from Karnataka to Haryana. Correct? Aam Aadmi Party itself has reached from Delhi to Haryana. Very close by now. Goods by it cannot go. Correct? So now what I will do is, that is Mehak will do is, she will instruct Sunil, bill to me, ship to him. Bill to me, ship to him. Because you are billing it to me at 100 rupees per t-shirt. I will bill it to him at 150 rupees per t-shirt. That's my profit. Correct? So bill to me, ship to him. In this case, goods have gone directly from Sunil to Sagar. Can Mehak claim credit of invoice raised by Sagar, Sunil? Goods only not received. There the exception says, when Sunil delivers the goods to Sagar and on behalf of Mehak, Sagar accepts the goods, it will be deemed that Mehak has received the goods. So when Sagar receives the goods, it is deemed that Mehak has received the goods. Mehak will be able to claim the credit when Sagar receives these goods. You guys are able to follow?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Reaction what you're giving, no, it looks like you're hearing all this for the first time. Seriously, I'm telling you.
No, sir.
Yes, sir.
No, sir. No, sir.
Great. So we'll stop at this here and we'll resume. If you have any doubts, please feel free to ask. Tomorrow we'll try finishing input tax credit, composition scheme, RCM. Then see if we can solve some problems on from RTP. Right? Okay. Yeah, Anika, tell me.
Sir, in the charge and supply chapter, there are a few definitions, no, sir, including consideration, business, and all. Do we have to learn all that?
You have to learn. Do you want me to cover all those? Consideration I will cover. But business and all, I'm not covering word by word. Do you want me to cover?
No, sir, like, will it come in the exam where we have to define it?
No, definition word by word will not come. The question will be that they have sold, what you say, printer cartridge, but they're a software company. Is it liable to GST? So that kind of analytical questions might come. But will they ask word by word about definitions? No, they will not ask. Definitely not ask.
And do we have to know the section numbers of the...
Whatever you have discussed, no, if you know, great. If you don't, also no problem. If you can remember whatever we discussed today, no, excellent. If you don't, also no problems at all. At inter level, you are not expected to learn sections. At CFI level, you might be required to, but in inter not required.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Okay. Please read. Please forget everything other than reading, writing. Okay. Even if you don't have food, even if you don't watch TV, even if you don't WhatsApp, no problem. This 1.5 month, please focus and finish. Right? Yes, Sunil.
As of now, is out of syllabus, but I have one doubt.
Yeah, out of syllabus, not revision class, nothing will be covered. Out of syllabus, nothing will be covered. So unnecessary tension for others. Correct? No? Right. Then leave
It
it.
is a practical doubt. That's it.
From CAP's office, you can take my number and give me your GST number. I'll be more than happy to bill to ship to you and send the answer to you. You can send an email to me, mail hanish@gmail.com. mail hanish@gmail.com. You mail, I will call you back. With your number you mail, I will call you back. Right? Okay. This side. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, so much, sir. Bye, sir.
Hi, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Two devices I have to leave.
Okay, everyone. It's 9:48 right now. Please take a break. Okay, go home. Yeah. I mean, you're at home. What am I saying? Eat, read, sleep, wake up, read, and then attend tomorrow's class also.
Where
Okay.
is rest? No rest. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Good night.
Bye.